Welcome to LXC.
Flash up.
Leon is rotating over.
Skarner mid. Skarner ult.
Nice.
Alright, that should be free drag.
I got missing.
Leona's somewhere.
Guys are Jarvan, Jinx, and then there's a Fizz on the side, but Fizz is not here yet. Skarner ult finds so many of them. Toxin has to flash out. Complex has to find someone to ult. Fizz got exhausted. He's still gonna kill someone through it though. And he still has half his health. You have to imagine Fizz could go in at any time. Razor's runs for his life. Hoodie Man is not so lucky that long. This Baron should not take that long. I believe Kiticus will do damage to it. I mean, I don't know, it's kind of hard because Diego's a little bit behind. He just doesn't have enough health, but he does catch the Bard with a double stun. But he's tanking enough, it doesn't matter. Kiticus does damage to everyone except for him. And that's the only one he can right-click right now. Watch Kiticus on your screen. He's right-clicked Zac about 30 times, and it just doesn't matter. Here, Bardo is here to collect some GAs. Particle does not. Oh, it does get bounced into the Jinx, so Jinx is invulnerable right now. Toxin also laying down some CC. Orianna ult and Desire ult. God Fist will go down. Razors has to ult away into Complex, who will find him with an ultimate. But it's once again Complex under a tower. I think he's dead. Well, withdrawing.
Shine on in the light. Game's on fire now. Tension in the air. Every player counts. Show 'em we care.
Hello, everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. I know I sure did. Welcome here to the League of Extraordinary Champions, LXC, just if you're calling it for short. But regardless, we're excited to be here. This is my first time casting Arbiter. I'm Badger. I'm going to be the play-by-play for tonight, and I am joined by producer, sometimes commentator on the color variety, Soul. How's it going?
It is going pretty good, feeling really good after last night's huge win in the Super Bowl. Me being from Pennsylvania, obviously, Eagles. So.
Look, man, I mean, the Super Bowl, it was something. I kind of hoped both teams lost, but if any of them had to win, I'm glad it was the Eagles. Still, regardless, we're not here to talk about the Super Bowl. We're here to talk about some League of Legends, Soul. And what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at the IBSG, right? It's kind of the wild, wild west of competitive League of Legends, right? You got people ranging from all different aspects. They're coming in. A lot of these people are new to the scene, and sometimes you got some vets who have been hanging out. They know their stuff, so I'm excited to see it. I know that this match is specifically between Contingent Esports Purple. They kind of been at the top of the game with this league. They've been doing a lot, especially with I Blow Bubble. She's been one of their big key players for that roster. But over on the other side, we got one of the TD rosters, TD ChronoBreak, I believe, piloted by Hoodie Man X himself. I'm excited to see where these teams go. I'm looking at some picks, and I'm already seeing some stuff that I'm expecting to see tonight.
Yeah, this should be really exciting. Hoodie Man, it does have a chip from LXC Summer there with TD Poro. So that, I don't know, for some reason being said, no one can hear me on the stream, but mic's on. Anyways, yeah, so Hoodie is a former champion, and Bubbles, as you brought up, brand new to comp. So, if never actually played comp before, there's a couple on the Contingent Purple roster as that, as you said. So it's a really good mix of old vets versus the up and comers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Yeah.
Tuna, who is coach for Contingent Purple, is also plays on in the Sentinel League for Brom Lives Matter.
Okay.
But he does coach and help out with the Contingent org as well. So they have some experience they can pull on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it, and I'm seeing a lot of Well, we're kind of expecting there are a lot of champions that still, regardless of your league, you're going to be seeing a lot of like Wukong, Misfortune. I'm seeing a lot in these games. Also seeing champs. Galio is still popping up. I think even with the nerfs, he's still a bit of a threat. Other champs like Jarvan, Jinx, Leona. It doesn't matter the rank. If the champ's broken, it's going to be broken. But I will also say, like I talked about it, C Contingent Esports Purple specifically, 4 of their 5, I guess the top 4 people with KDA are all members of Contingent Esports Purple, with the 6th ranking be that last person. There's one member of TD Harmony that is holding on to that top 5 spot. But still, this team, it looks like they've caused a lot of commotion, and it looks like they have kind of been the key front runner with this league. So I'm excited to watch them. I know I've played against a couple of these people. I'm usually up in Crusader, but I remember in the draft league exhibitions I got to play against Wolven. And Wolven, for what it was, he was playing very, very solid. I'm excited to see what this matchup is going to be against more of like an even ranked player here as well. I forget exactly what champion was the one he was choosing to pilot there, but still, I think it'll be a good matchup. I'm excited, and I'm hopeful that it's at least these team fights are going to be a little spicy here.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see it. Picks that goes through as the IBSG goes. Everybody has their extreme comfort they go to. If it's not banned, you'll see immediate locks-ins. Lux, Misfortune are kind of like the 2 big staples between these teams. So if any of them survive going through the ban phase, I would expect insta lock-ins. We did get to see Bardo get a quadra kill, almost a penta in week 2 on Viego. So we'll have to see if that's been noticed and whether or not that comes through, as these teams are just about ready to get in the draft. Anything you don't want to see?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, it's gonna sound weird. I don't want to see Mel. I kind of think the champion is a bit weird. I think she's very annoying to play against. I also think a lot of times though, if you mess up on that champion, if you don't know what you're doing, you kind of instantly get schmurdered a little bit. So I think it's kind of a bait. I think if teams are picking it, it's going to probably cost them a match, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if they put in the time, as we'll have to see, we're finally into that draft phase. But I think Mel is a champion. I want to see these teams take a little bit more time with the pick beforehand. As Urgot's going to be the first ban here from the side of Contingent. I think it's solid. Looking at the roster, I believe, yep, it is Pizza Pasta. The man himself is a big fan of Urgot, so not too bad on that first ban. Oh, it ends up being Zach. Never mind, I lied straight to you guys' face.
Yep, they go ahead and target Bardo here. And instant support. Jungle's getting targeted. Not who I expected to be picked out on this one, but Bardo has been playing very, very well for ChronoBreak. So yeah, 2 bans going straight on Bardo. Skarner, always a solid ban.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at it and you kind of just say, I'm looking just over at like Bardo's OP. He is big. I mean, he has a 76% win rate on Amumu with 30 games played. His next highest played and ranked as of now is Vi with 5 games. So I think a Amumu ban always has to be happening. And I mean, Caitlyn ban also. I was expecting both Lux and Ari to be those bans here, but I think Caitlyn is not a bad, especially with, I think this player is playing a lot of Caitlyn, which is, I mean, hey, that's fair, right? Yep, this is his most played AD. But you also see champs like Varus, right? Varus is a very, very strong champion, and they've been putting a lot of recent time on that. As they actually don't go with a Lux or an Ari ban.
Wow.
Kind of surprised, yeah.
There's
it's just going to be
Lux.
Lux locked in. I think it's fine. I've heard iBlow Bubbles is very good at this champion. There are ways to punish it. A lot of the times the ways to punish it, though, require a lot of coordination between the mid laner and the jungle. Because a lot of times Lux has the option to kind of just farm wave, run away. Farm wave, run away. She doesn't have to interact with her laner at all to get her farm. And it kind of just goes to the point, oh, and you know, maybe they don't know. They're picking Mel into it. I mean, there are some things you can reflect, right? You can reflect that binding, which could be an option here. But I think it's kind of surprising to see it this early. I think there are a lot of champs that can kind of put her in a bad spot here. So maybe TD, they're pretty hot. They're confident on the pick. So we'll have to see what ends up paying out.
Do you feel that's Mel mid? I've been seeing a lot of it AD, and I've been seeing it support.
I think if it goes anywhere other than mid, people are trolling. But it looks like Viego is the lock-in. I will say back to it. I just think you can go it in the bot lane. But a lot of the times what I've seen is Mel is a very very much a levels reliant champ. She kind of relies on it a lot more than some of the other mid laners. She's also very big on her like cooldowns and her mana costs. So you're wanting to build a lot more instead of like your higher AP like ratio items. You're wanting to build more like the CDR. You're wanting to build Archangels. You're wanting to build Leandries. And a lot of times to get those spikes, you kind of need that extra experience you're going to be getting from mid. But you know, another champ that I think counters and does really well into this Mel and a mobile mage is going to be Jarvan. And especially, if it's Misfortune, that is, it's going to be tough. She can reflect some of it, but like that combo's nasty.
Yeah, we're gonna see the famous wombo there, the Demacia Misfortune combo, which has taken priority over the old combo with a Mumu that was like Curse of the Sad Bullet Time. I think we all lovingly
Hmm.
named it. So it's fun for that to come out. Seraphine and immediate Braum ban. That's what I like to see during a ban phase. If you're gonna
Hmm.
take it, ban out the Braum.
I mean, I think it's a good response. I think Misfortune Braum has some consistency. I would say a lot of the times if I'm playing with Misfortune, I like champs a lot of times that have just straight up lockdown. Lux helps with that. Jarvan helps out with that. Other champs that jump out to me are Maokai, Leona kind of jump out as like the big contenders there. It also I think would go really well with what this team is going with. Leaning more towards that Leona. I don't know how well it does into the potential Seraphine APC support angle. I think I did see that the ChronoBreak they did play its support with an Ashe, so maybe that is something that they choose to opt into. But yeah, right now on the other side we see it's going to be a Trundle ban. I think it's solid. I think it gives a lot of split push pressure, and a Malphite is going to be that response just to make it, hey, you don't get any more engage because if you engage into us, that Mel, she's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, we have seen Helium pilot that Seraphine, so that's still kind of open where Seraphine can go. So good flex pick to pick up. Um, Bardo getting on the Viego is going to make the jungle matchup a little more interesting, since we have seen that pop off in the past before. So a lot of top laners getting banned out. Orin still on the table. Cassante, not generally an IBSG pick, but still on the table.
I think regardless of if it is an IBSG pick, especially if it is your guy, like Asante, he's been broken for so long. It's always just like he provides so much even when he is in that blind position rank because he's kind of like he's that tank who does a lot. He has so much dashing, he has a lot of mobility, he has good crowd control. He's always like a champ that you can fit into a roster. As we're gonna see, it's the gangster rat, Mr. Twitch himself, who's gonna be filling in the roster. I think it's decent. I always like seeing Twitch. He's one of my favorite. Like, I'm always a big fan of space gliding, as everybody is who plays League. But I just look at it and I'm thinking, if the Jarvan is just not crazy trigger happy, right? If he kind of just waits for the Twitch to show up, that rat's dead insta. So we'll have to see. I mean, he has the Seraphine to kind of help support him, and so I think there is a little bit of protection there, but there's the Leona. I called it out. I'm really kind of liking. I mean, it's technically draft's not over, but I'm liking how Contingent Esports their rosters and end up playing out here.
I think the Leona's okay here. I would have much rather have seen the Nautilus. As a rampant Twitch abuser myself for many seasons, that's Twitch's number one matchup. Not holds the ultimate. Soon as Twitch appears from the team fight, because he's always late, he gets not ulted, and that's pretty much the end of the Twitch. So Leona does a decent job at it, but Leona's more for her spot engage. So I don't know that she's going to have the CC lockdown for when Twitch does appear in the team fight. But Mordekaiser to take the Twitch into Brazil is always a fun experience for Twitch.
Mhm.
He generally doesn't win that.
No, he most of the time won't, but I will say Mordekaiser Blind has its downsides sometimes. We'll have to see if that counter pick is going to show up here. Renekton is a really good answer in a ward, right? You have the shield break, you have that early game threat. I think a lot of times people say, hey, Renekton's just an early game champion. That is a bit of an outdated take. I am a big fan of Renekton. I take it mid anytime I can. I think he is so broken. I know everybody was like, oh, don't pick Renekton. The R5 Renekton is a bit of a meme, but looking at it, I think it does really well into Mordekaiser. It gives a little bit more threat onto the Jarvan as well. I like it. I will still say, if I'm not looking at top lane alone, I do like the side of Contingent Esports Purple's draft. I don't know if you feel if different opinions there, but I just think that getting Lux, Jarvan, Misfortune, especially with your team, I think that's crazy they got away with it.
Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of Contingent Purple's draft as well. I think it's a much easier comp to play. It's very much we're going to hit our buttons, and what can you do about it? There's that Chrono Break comp is tough to play. You have to be very perfect. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Twitch for positioning, which is sometimes a struggle bus. We'll have to see how Hoodie can actually pilot this Twitch and picking his spacing in those team fights, because there is a lot of threats. Luxspine, Jarvan, Flag Drag alt, Leona alt, Mordekaiser. Like, you really have to position well, or hope for jungle fights where you can be over a wall to spray and pray into a team fight here.
I mean, a thing is, if the early engage from the side of Contingent Esports doesn't go exactly how they want, Viego has the opportunity to run away with some fights, right? You see all of the options that he could take in these fights, right? Grabbing Lux's basic kit, grabbing Leona's basic kit, immediately popping your Heartbreaker, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. So if they don't burst that Viego and they kind of ignore him, focus more on the Mel, focus more on the Twitch, the jungler does have an opportunity here to get some stuff done. I will say it's a lot of on, hey, where is this Viego actually going to be going, pathing here? Because I'm looking at his lane setup, and, like, Lux is hard to gank, and, like, Mel has some gank assist with her E, but I'm just kind of looking at these lane setups, and I'm just thinking it's going to be kind of hard for Viego to find an angle. I just want to see if he can get an early lead. I think that is their way back into this game. Even I guess that's their win condition, not their way back into the game.
Yeah, we're going to see how much impact Bardo can really make on this Viego pre-6. Generally, from the junglers that I've played with and know, whenever picking Viego, it's like you pick a Jinx. You want champions that can get a burst. You want that first kill as fast as possible. Start that reset spam. And I don't see a lot of burst here out of ChronoBreak, so I think the fights they're gonna play this very carefully, or picks. Picks in the team fights, they'll go very well around objectives, dragons, Rift Herald, things like that. I think is going to have to be their win condition. I don't know that they ever win the 5v5. I think it's going to be tough.
I think it's really tough, especially if it's like an even 5v5. Like, I realistically see, for the side of ChronoBreak, they have to have position early. If they're walking into an objective, it's so hard for them, right? You could potentially, like, because who's leading the charge here? Is it Renekton? Because I think Renekton, a lot of times, we're going to want to see him on, like, the side. A lot of times, like, because it's not going to be a Seraphine who's going to be leading the charge. It's not a Mel, and realistically, Viego and Twitch, they want to be kind of hanging out in the shadows a little bit before they can jump into a fight. So maybe we'll be seeing a little bit in a Ram, right? The Renekton is the one who could lead this charge, but I guess just looking at it, we'll realistically have to see, as I think we are waiting and we're seeing these last champions be locked in. No surprises on where most of these champs are going, but with that, I think we're going to cut to a break, wait on that spectator delay, and we'll be right back for Game 1. First game here of LXE this week.
back at me. Stranger in the hall, frozen by the scene. Portraits seem to fade. He lost his centerpiece. Can't recall his face. I hope he'll rest in peace. Haunted by my mind, victim or the prey. Everything is fine. Take me to my grave. Bury me alive, keeping me astray. Hard to say goodbye to who I am today. Everything is fine. Take me to my grave. Haunted by my mind, victim or the prey. Everything is fine. Take me to my grave. Bury me alive, keeping me astray. Hard to say goodbye to who I am today. Haunted by my mind, victim or the prey. Everything is fine. Take me to my grave. Bury me alive, keeping me astray. Hard to say goodbye to who I am today.
Welcome everybody to game one of this hopefully riveting series between TD ChronoBreak representing your red side, and on the blue side we have Contingent Esports, not blue, it is purple, that is representing us today. It's going to be a good match. I'm hoping. We were talking a little bit in, I guess, that break, talking about some of the stuff that was kind of jumping out to me. That PTA Viego I think is interesting. I'm usually used to seeing Conqueror on him. I think it's what most of the time I'm expecting, but maybe he's wanting a little bit of that early game. He wants to get accelerated early, so it could work out for him. So I don't know if you see anything else that's kind of jumping out to you instantly as you loaded into this game.
No, I think Clinton's is a good safe choice here from Hoodie. Yeah, it's tough. You're running into double combat summoners down bot lane. Bot lane's of course looking to fight, as they should with MF, who's a pretty big lane bully, has a Leona in the pocket. So, yeah, ChronoBreak's gonna have to survive early on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot
As
of
I will say one note is a red side ward was placed into, I guess, the Dragon It Out's Raptor pit there, so he potentially will be spotted on his clear. But over on the other side, we see that Wolven is using a defensive ward there just to make sure that Jarvan doesn't go for anything. I'm kind of surprised that's what they opted into. I think a lot of times Jarvan can be known to invade. He is pretty strong early, so I think it's not bad. But I think a lot of times wanting to get an early ward in the enemy jungler just to see where they're starting, right? Because if I'm sitting here, I'm a little nervous if I'm the Mordekaiser, a little nervous if I am the Misfortune and Leona, because technically you don't realistically know where the Viego is started at this point.
Yeah, and the early game is really where ChronoBreak has to play here. If they're going to get something, they want it early.
Good trade there from Pizza up top using his level 2 advantage. Just kind of what you expect from this lane a little bit. And now see, I'm sorry, an immediate flash. They said I am to where they're taking no chances. The E is coming out. I guess okay, they did have level 2 over them, so I think it's a little more justified. But that caught me off guard, Soul. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, you were. I think Helium was pretty close to tower. I don't think Leona ever takes that, but I appreciate the respect.
They're on knife's edge here. They say, hey, we still want to play with respect. Who cares about flash? You don't need that unless it's 5 minutes from now, maybe. So, but still, just looking at the way these lanes have been set up, it's kind of, we're expecting a little bit of what we're seeing. It looks like Viego is a little bit ahead on his clear, which I think is impressive. So he will have map movement a little bit first. I think that the scuttles are going to be just traded between the two junglers, but especially with Mordekaiser already placing his ward up top there, I think he's not too worried. But we see some aggressive trading from both the top lane mainly, as we see Pizza is already getting his Fury. He has Max Fury here. Uramushi's low. The flash coming out. The flash in response. The auto's not enough. That's very close there, flash for flash, but it does look like the Mordekaiser, he's going to have to be running for the hills, but it actually looks like Renekton's trying to stay here. I think maybe they're saying that Viego wants to potentially go for a dive? Is that maybe why he's wanting to do this? I mean,
I hope not.
That could be the angle, but...
I hope that is not the plan. For sure, they don't try and dive this Mordekaiser. I think that would go terrible.
Oh, well, that's...
What do I know?
With the way he's positioned, Soul, I think we might be in for a bit of a treat here, as we're seeing the wave is finally going to be crashing. If Viego starts it, he immediately takes tower first. You got to wait on those minions, but I guess it worked out. Never mind. First blood goes over to the side of ChronoBreak.
Yeah, wait, you made my words on that. Great job, Bardo. It's a very clean dive. 2 tower shots, they get the kill, and they get it over to the Renekton. That's where you want that kill to go this early.
That's exactly where you need it to go, right? We talked about it. A lot of the times when we looked at this draft, the real win condition was this Renekton, right? The instigator. If that guy got ahead, he could shut down this Mordekaiser really, really hard, right? Getting that shield break off your empowered W is so crucial. It also gets a lot of value into, like, the Jarvan, the Lux, the Leona. So I think if the Renekton gets ahead, I mean, he's opting into the pickaxe here, so that could be a couple items. I'm expecting it to be the Eclipse. But we'll have to see as we're now cutting over to the bot lane. We see that Foxhound is on the move. Hoodie Man is taking a good amount of damage in response. The Q isn't going to be used to stun, but a good response there from Helium and Hoodie. They just back him out, even though Helium is pretty low on mana, so they have to be pretty cautious. Nice Q there. But without a ton of mana on Neon Sword, I don't think a kill is likely. But we'll have to see. Maybe they surprise me.
Yeah, Otto's still hurt, but I do agree. I don't think the kill's in the realm. Heal is still up. Cleanse is still up. I was kind of surprised Cleanse didn't get used there from Twitch. So Hoodie's just going to hold that until maybe the level 6 engage. So not a bad call to save the Cleanse if he knew he wasn't in danger of death there.
Hey, I mean, Hoodie said someone in my lane has to hold summoners if I got to be the person to do it. But, I mean, hey, regardless, we look at it, off that pressure and that good trade, we do see that the side of Contingent were able to pick up Dragon for themselves, the first to get that objective, get closer to your feat of strength. As I think it's the feat of dominance. I actually don't know the exact name. The one that gives you 3 kills immediately is going to be pretty nice here. As we see Pizza, he hits level 6. I will say, I'm looking at it every time this guy is trading. He's always making sure he's up a level. That's exactly what you need to be doing. But also on the flip side, if you know, like, hey, they're going to be ticking to that next level, they're getting a ton of free stats, right? It's just a ton of free stats, and you realistically don't want to be giving over that health lead a lot of the time.
So they got the Dragon early enough here to make a play on Grubs as well. They have support rotation first. This is outnumbered fight now.
I think they're just taking the fact, hey, they got one. This is going to mean that there's no feat of strength going over to the side of, ChronoBreak here, which is good. So, I mean, they get the Grubs, and it's nice to have his Mordekaiser and the Jarvan, but we're seeing Bardo's actually going back in here. He's got to be very careful as he goes for the root. We see that Kaz is forced to flash out here, but good response there from Bubble to make sure she uses the E to slow down the rest of the team. I think maybe flash was needed there, but I also think I'm surprised they went back in for it, to be honest, because you just see the situation. You're saying, hey, we're okay to just like take the one grub because it's not going to be as big. Especially if you get the 3, that's where it really matters. But I mean, hey, overall, good play from the side of ChronoBreak there.
Yeah, it's an interesting call to try and fight for that. Normally, I'm used to seeing the objectives get traded and not, hey, we got Dragon, you got Grubs. You normally don't see teams contesting both this early. And there is that farm gap we're seeing here. You know, there's a bit of a gap here in mid. The bot CS difference is going to be a massive problem very soon.
I was looking mainly at that bot CS difference when you were talking about it. Yeah, I mean, because we look at it and like, realistically, I'm looking more at the gold, and Misfortune's up almost 400k. We don't, that's not going to matter. We see that the EQ is going to land, but they immediately spot out Bardo, forcing out Hoodie Man's flash. He's flashing down, so I think he's just trying to buy enough time, but I think you got to be holding your ground there. The Q is not going to be able to land. I think it's the stun, so it's a W, but still a good brute there from Helium, but it's not going to be enough as bit of shenanigans were done there in the bot lane, but unfortunately it means no blood for us.
Yeah, little scary there for Foxhound.
Cutting over mid, I wanted to give you time still, but we're seeing that Dragon is in a bit of a bad spot. Blood Bubble, the ultimate does go a little bit wide there. Dragon, I think he could continue to be on the case, but Bardo is hanging out. The stun is going to land. They're doing a lot of damage in return. The ultimate from Wolfen is not going to be enough. They fall to Dragon, as it looks like it's a 3v3 now, with Bardo the one who's leading the aggressive. We see that the heal is used for movement speed. It's not enough, as it is just going to be a 1-for-1, and the play ends up going the way of the purples.
That is kind of unfortunate. Woven made the right call, flashes the right direction out of the Lux ult, but then didn't leave. I guess the call was to take that fight. Bubble ends up making Woven pay for it. Just you hung around too long.
Hung around too long is definitely the way I'd put it, to be honest. Like, I think realistically, I know those situations where you're saying, hey, I gotta run. I don't have much left in the tank, right? I'm saying, hey, I gotta get out of here. But I think a lot of times probably the jungler was like, hey, we can go. Hoodie's there. Helium's there. We have the whole team. We can fight this. But if you lose your health too early in this chunk, it's gonna be tough, right? Because like you can't really extend a fight if you're gray screened.
Yeah, saving grace, the kill goes over to the Jarvan, not onto the Lux, so your lane state is still okay. You still have the CS advantage, so it's not disastrous for Woven.
Not disastrous. And I mean, hey, he still is up about 200 gold on the Lux because of that CS lead we talked about, almost 20 already, which is really, really nice to see. I will say it is a little bit cut by the fact Misfortune is up about 2 waves of farm herself. She, during that Rift or Grub interaction, she was the one who stayed down in the bot lane, while the Twitch and the Seraphine, they moved up. So that is kind of where that gold lead is coming from a little bit. But still, I mean, these leads are not anything that you cannot come back from for either team. It hasn't gotten to the point now where it's ballooning out of control. I mean, there is a 500 gold lead up top, but that realistically is just due to the fact that that first blood went over to the Gator. But still, I think right now this game is still relatively even, and I think it's a lot closer than what I was expecting, honestly, at this point in the game.
Yeah, there's only about 200 gold in the difference between these teams, maybe about 3. This Dragon coming up, both teams are here, both jungles down here. They're going to fight for this, and this could be where we start to see that explosion.
Hoping to see a little bit of explode and a little bit of action as Dragon is moving in very aggressively here. He's going to spot out Bardo, and I'm expecting him to immediately jump in with the fact that he has Foxhound. There it is. The Flag and Dragon is going to land, followed by the E. The ultimate there, the Sange is followed by the firepower that's coming from Misfortune. Bardo is low. The Ignite's not going to be able to pick him up. Hoodie Man is exhausted, and he's running for the hills. The Rat is fighting for his life, and now Dragon's in a little bit of a weird spot, but with the bot laners of ChronoBreak retreating to their towers, it looks like they're going to use that fact, and they're going to potentially take another dragon for themselves.
TP canceled in the middle of that. We didn't get to see it, but it happened.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you said, oh, it is the Renekton. Dude, Pizza Pasta, the Mafia man, he was stopped in his tracks. I think if the Renekton was able to get into this fight, that definitely could have gone their way, right? Because we saw it. Helium landed a really nice ultimate there. I forget the exact name, but the Encore, never mind, that's what it's called. We want to see that multiple times, obviously. It was massive, and it actually helped save that fight to make it so that it wouldn't get blown out of proportion. I thought Wolven was in a little bit of trouble there. He kind of walked back up just a little bit, and I thought he was going to be immediately just kerplowed by Foxhound and Dragon there. But good choice there, just to not go in, as we do see Urameshi was prepping those grubs, giving it to, I think that all 3 are going to go over to the side of purple here. So that is going to potentially be, they're going to get 3, and I think that immediately is going to go over to them.
Yeah, that is going to happen. So there's kind of, I think ChronoBreak lucked out. Foxhound has roamed a little too much. They are not 6 yet. That Leona ult did not come down on that Viego, and it also wasn't available for that roam there on Mel. I think if that Leona ult was there, like Helium Bobo is already 6, I think Viego dies there. The fight goes very different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in that point, we talked about it. It's a lot on that bot lane roam that happened, right? Misfortune was getting a lot of that solo XP. And we saw where a lot of that damage came from, right? We saw how much that MF ulti was doing. But we're going to have to see what is going to be doing a lot is the Flag and Drag comes out into the Cataclysm. The Heartbreaker immediately out as Dragon is forced to walk away here. Fox is kind of jumping over. Fox and the Hound, he's jumping over the fences.
Still not 6.
Still not 6. You know, hey man, lanes are actually really cool. I know we all want to be a jungler sometimes, but those minions, they end up doing a lot for you. As I do think getting that solar flare, I believe is what it is called, is super, super nice to have, especially when you're Leona, right? Especially against this mobile carry. But now for top lane, I talk about it once, I talk about it twice, maybe 3 times. So we see the level advantage from the Renekton here. He's popping the Dominus here, getting a lot of extra fury, getting a lot of damage, and then ends up being a pretty favorable trade even with that tower shot.
Yeah, really well played. Great route.
The root is always nice. Remember, Lux a lot of times... Oh, hang on. We see that the Renekton has been sent into the Death Realm here. He's taking a lot of damage. This is actually Urmeshi's angle to get these kills. Good flash there to avoid the Q damage coming out. Bardo with the flash W miss, but you got to be careful. Remember, Urmeshi, he has passive, but the good stun there, and Bardo's able to pick up the kill. Wasn't the cleanest, but they get it done. And that's another kill over to the Renekton and the Viego.
Oh, I clinched on that when I saw that double kill happening with that isolated Q damage coming. It's a great flash by Pasta. Oh, I was super scared for that one.
I mean, I feel like it's always a bit to say great flash, but you know, I will say that flash, if he got hit by that Q, that was a double kill just in the making there. So good response there from him to make sure that he does not give over that potential highlight reel to the side of Urameshi. But what's going to be a highlight reel here is that Solar Flare finally is landing as Foxhound is able to land the stun. He's able to land the root onto Hoodie Man. We're seeing a TP come out from Mel here to try to buy enough time, forcing Foxhound to be on the retreat. Wolven is moving in. It is a 3v2 with the heal to buy some move speed here. The Encore's going to land. Not able to find the Misfortune here, but Leona is doing a good job buying time. The Misfortune ultimate, that's not enough. And Twitch, the gangsta himself, is able to get himself a kill.
Yeah, they kind of expend a lot for that, but it does work out. I'm a little concerned about mid tower.
Ooh, mid tower? I mean, you always think about it. Lux is able to just kind of control the wave like it is butter, right? She can absolutely manipulate it how she pleases, but you got to look at it. Look at Viego, right? Viego is moving in, and I think Bubble, she does have her Jarvan to help out, but we see the W used to buy a little bit of space. You got to be careful, though. Remember, Lux has a lot more spells than just one. She was able to land the root to make sure she was in no danger whatsoever.
Yeah, so you pick up that kill bot lane, you get that over to Twitch, it feels good, but you gave up a good amount of your lead mid to make that play happen. So you get Twitch back into the game, but at what cost?
I mean, I will say, getting Twitch back into the game, you also got to think they got 3 kills. That means that they have that feat. So now it is just first tower. Who's going to get the first tower? And right now, it looks like it is going in the favor of Contingent Purple. There is potentially the angle that that top tower could fall as well. If I'm on my team, I'm saying, hey, we try to overload this top tower. We try to get it. Because remember, it's tied up 1-1 right now. As we're going to see Renekton, he might run into the support here. As Foxhound is just running away, knowing, hey, I don't want to mess with that guy. He's a little spooky. But still, especially if you have members like the Jarvan moving up, the Lux who could rotate over pretty easily, you still got to be careful if you're the Gator. But, I mean, I think a lot of times we're looking at it, I think he's got a little bit of a funky build. You know, I don't exactly know what that is, but what I do know is the fact that Bardo does land his W. He finds the angle here. As we see the E is going to land, doing a little bit of damage there from Wolven, but the ultimate from Bubble is going to make it so they can't keep on the chase. As we look at down bot, we see Misfortune might be in a bit of a bad spot. She uses the E to get out of this situation, running away, but if Twitch doesn't move, she's going to be able to just waddle and strut herself out of that one.
Yeah, pretty big wave. Twitch couldn't really justify leaving. That wave already been down so much CS. I mean, he's down 50 to this Misfortune.
Oh. As we do see, Misfortune is hanging out, but look at the Renekton. Renekton is here. They're going to take tower for free. That means that the feats, I believe, go over to the side of Contingent Purple. The E does not land, but Solo Flare for sure is going to follow as Neon Sword and Bubble are doing enough damage. Renekton, you're in a bit of a bad spot, and the shutdown is going to go over to Bubble with the laser. We always hate that laser, and that was the final spark there for the Renekton, but hey, Dragon was taken as a response.
Yeah, you pick up a Dragon, you lose positioning, and Contingent kind of makes him pay for it off that position.
Oh, as we see, speaking of positioning, I don't know how Neon sort of ended up in this position. Forced to exhaust and flash, but the Heartbreaker is going to go over that wall, following it immediately, especially with Hoodie Man hanging out too. He pops an ulti just to let him know. And Bardo, he's doing a great job. Already 2 kills into this game. Everywhere he is making these plays happen. And we talk about a kill for objective trade. We're seeing it once again, as it looks like the side of purple, they're going to say, hey, we'll take Shelly. Purple, Herald, purple. It matches the team, it matches the plays, but we also got to be careful because that bot lane tower, especially if Bardo's hanging out with him, I think it's going to go over the way of Chrono.
Yeah, I like them getting the kill plus the objective trade back. I think that's going to immediately go over, and top's going to go down. I expect Shelly to get dropped here. Top side, but it's nice to see ChronoBreak at least fighting back and trading these objectives and finally making some picks here for this very greedy positioning coming out from Neon.
Canceling his base a good amount of times here. I think they were potentially, like you said, looking to place that Herald top side, especially if Bubble was hanging out. I think that could have been an angle just to get a tower on the response. But they end up opting out of it. They just want to use the empowered recalls, which I think is fair. As another thing I think is interesting here is they went Profane Hydra on the Renekton. I think it gets some value here, but remember, Mordekaiser, he's happy to stack armor a lot of the time, right? You kind of see that weird build where it's like Rylai's into damage, and speaking of damage, Blow Bubble landing basically her full combo. Pizza not able to get his dash onto the right target there. He uses both, so there's no more follow-up onto the Renekton there, but I mean, hey, looking at it, the Profane Hydra, if you can stick onto one of these squishy carries like the Lux, like the Misfortune, you blow them up. And you know who's about to be blown up is Wolven and Seraphine, as Jarvan has such a nice flank here. He finds the angle with a field goal. He just completely whiffs there. That is not what you want to see. You got to lead with your ultimate there, boss. They are locked in place. Then you hit it with a nice flag and drag. I think that was a waste potential there for purple.
Yeah, but that's a definite missed opportunity. That was field goal was accurate. Just was not expecting it. I didn't even see the Jarvan sneak around there. For some reason, I thought that was Bardo that was coming around the side. You generally don't see the jungler sneak behind from that angle.
I won't deny that flank was great.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity there to just seal the game. It's just the execution I think it just wasn't there a lot of times. I think he got a little, I call it lost in the sauce, right? Where you kind of are like, see in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to do everything here. I always lead with flag and drag, then I do Cataclysm. If you just play it a little bit slower, you stay calm, I think that play goes so your way. And I mean, hey, they didn't lose anything from it, but I just think, how many opportunities are you going to get like that?
Yeah, that is one of those things. The playing slower, make them react to you. You know, it's kind of like, it's almost more of a support mentality. Just walking at someone and holding your abilities gives a lot of pressure just because you still have them. As the enemy's trying to juke skills you're not throwing, and you close that gap.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you see that a lot of times. I always say, well, but when I was first starting out, I guess getting back into mid lane and learning Ahri, you think about it, the E, a lot of times just holding onto the E, having the threat of having it in your kit, you basically can auto somebody to death. Why do you think Lichbane is such a good item on Ahri? It's because you're getting free autos basically with your W, and you're just holding on to Charm gets so much value, but we're going to have to talk about that later. As Otacon is being started, I will say Otacon does so much damage. You know who's doing damage? Urameshi hanging out in the side. He has not pulled anybody into the funny realm, as we see Dragon getting the flag, and Drag himself flash out as it's a shutdown over to the side of Mel. Urameshi's in a bit of a bad spot. He did bring Helium over, but Helium, good flash there to make it so that he can't get it. Remember, we don't know the exact barrier of that circle, but I can tell you it's not looking great. And Wolven, he picks up another kill for himself, but the good ultimate bullet time!
Oh!
And picks it up. It's a 2-man. The Dragon, I guess Otacon himself, never mind. That's not the Dragon. It's a good response, but still, it goes over to the side of ChronoBreak. But that was a lot sloppier and a lot spicier than what I was expecting there.
They die before the Otacon buff, so those deaths are real.
I mean, wow. I mean, I thought that fight was just going to go completely the way of ChronoBreak, right? I'm just looking at it, and I think Dragon went in a little bit too early. I think Leona went in a little bit too early with Misfortune and Lux not able to kind of give that follow-up that they need, right? Urameshi did a good job of buying time, sending Helium into the Death Realm. But just, I mean, great response there. They said, hey, Otacon is going to be shredding you to death a lot of the time, right? Your resistances are so kapoofed. That's not a real word, but I'm making it a word. You see the situation, and you're just saying, like, Bullet time is going to go crazy here, and we just saw a bullet time from the heavens, basically.
Yeah, bullet time with the Lux ultimate just destroyed.
Oh,
We're
as a
making a play.
TP is coming out. Woven Alchemist and Bardo have it as the stun is going to land. Urameshi, I think, TP'd a little bit too close, not with his team in the area. Woven picks up his 3rd kill of the game. Feels like he's gotten away with murder a little bit. He's picking up these kills where he needs. That's part of what Mel does, right? That ultimate is a good execute. And it looks like just with that pick, Urameshi's TP that was a little too overzealous. And then next dragon stacking clouds. That's a scary dragon to stack, so it's going to be going over to ChronoBreak here. Oh, never mind. It's the stun. Bubble just steals it. Wow! She just jumped up top. I don't think she got the angle that she wanted. She lived. It's crazy. She's going to walk away the flash, but the team of ChronoBreak, they are hanging out. The withdraw is going to be enough, but good ultimate there. I don't think he has the follow-up that he needs, but we see now Twitch is in the area. He's hanging out. He does get slowed by Bubble, but now I'm looking at Dragon. He's going in with the flag and drag onto Helium, but Helium does still have his Voracious Otacon buff. The Flash, that's not a real kill, buddy. I don't know if Flash is worth it, but you know what is going to be worth it is the Rat who's about to try to pick up a kill. But the TP, wait, did Urameshi not just TP? How, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm just lost. I thought he TP'd earlier. Maybe it was someone else who TP'd, but still, I mean, hey, Urameshi TPing in. I'm saying, hey, I'm going to help my homie out. And wow, I mean, great steal there for Bubble. I don't know if the smite just wasn't timed like they wanted it to be, but that's a great way to keep this game interesting.
And I've learned something new. You can be dead and still receive the Otacon buff. How about that? You don't have to be alive. It doesn't work like the Baron buff.
It does not. I think it's like you can die and your whole team will get it after the respawn, which is something I think that could be something that they eventually try to change. Like if you die for the Otacon, you don't get it. I would say right now, on this, I guess, 15-3, it feels a lot more balanced than what it did the last previous patches. I think the 15-second as well as the amount of gold, but we'll talk about that later. As we see, pasta, pizza, pasta. You know, I say it twice because I think we're going to be saying it twice. As he gets in, he actually gets the trade off. The fact he had Bardo there is helping him out. Neo is not able to get those trades off. The sword is unfortunately sheathed this time, but we're seeing the great engage there from Bardo as Leona. He goes in with the Heartbreaker, but Bullet Time's doing a lot of damage. We say it, but Bardo, he's tanking as the flag and drag. He didn't realize that he was going to take Jarvan. Double kill over to Bardo. Maybe the PTA Viego is the sauce right now as we see 4 members from the side of, oh, wow, that was a big old Lux ult, but still, you don't have much more in the tank as right now, ChronoBreak, they're doing a great job of carrying this momentum and using the fact that that Otacon helped them out a ton. But the heal is coming out here. We see Blow Bubble is in a bit of a bad spot. She's going to fall. The shutdown goes over to Hoodie Man himself. Fox goes in to try buy space for his Lux, but unfortunately, it's not enough, and the kills just keep going the way of ChronoBreak. We're sitting at Bardo. He's 5-0-9 soul.
Yeah, Viego tower resets are a thing. When he gets to jump into that soul, the tower stops hitting him. And, yeah, just great job by ChronoBreak using that numbers advantage, and now they have pretty commanding lead here.
Oh, but what might be a commanding lead is... Oh, I thought the flag and drag was going to hit there. I thought Pizza was in a bit of a bad spot, but he's just going to stun and waddle his way out of there, wagging his tail as he gets into the river. That's basically an alligator's natural habitat, so he's happy to be there. But, I mean, yeah, we just look at that play, and a lot of it was kind of just... You consider it not like a solo queue snowball, but a lot of times if plays go bad, you kind of are just wanting to salvage them a lot of times. And what that can do is it can just lead to that snowball. It's going to keep getting bigger, keep getting bigger. And I mean, right now we saw the game, it was pretty relatively even. And now it's sitting at about 5K, which is not, it's not uncomebackable from. But like, you just sit here and you're saying, okay, we got to keep this game controlled. We still, if we get our fights how we want to get our fights, we win these fights. I say fights always, but like these teams have been fighting. But you look at it, right? They got the Misfortune. They got the Jarvan Leona. That combo is so broken. So I think this game is still anybody's.
I do too. It just really depends how they get played. So we've seen ChronoBreak here making really good picks, and then Purple's like funneling in 1 or 2 at a time into a 4 or 5-man squad. You know, ChronoBreak's being very smart how they're picking these fights, and they are only fighting when they're, when they have the numbers advantage.
I mean, that's how you got to do it, right? A lot of times you kind of usually the objectives are what is going to be bringing people together, right? A lot of times, right? They are at these objectives and they're saying, hey, we want to make these fights happen. I mean, you see a lot of it is like there has been that scramble that we're talking about, right? We see that Bubble got a really good steal onto that objective to kind of stall this game out. That is another thing we haven't mentioned. They are on soul point here. So they're going to be, if they set up their vision here, I'm looking at how soon that dragon's going to be spawning in 20 seconds. I want to see them on that objective now. I want to see them get control of this dragon, as it looks like they're going to be conceding, and it looks like that the side of ChronoBreak are going to have control here.
Neon's way out of position here to try and make a play on this dragon.
But we'll have to see. Yeah, Neon, I don't know why Neon is topside. You are very right there, as I think they are just going to try to give this over, but it looks like Bubble is in a bit of a bad spot, forced to flash out, making it so that she does not get hit by the coal. Dragon is here. This could be the engage that they need, but great encore there to stop the bullet time. Going in with the Cataclysm to try to buy her enough space. Bardo using the Heartbreaker to get out of this fight. The Death Realm has been activated. It is onto Wolven Alchemist. Urameshi is trying to do enough damage, but remember, he only has the Rhyolice. It's going to be tough here, but they're kind of waiting to see what happens at the end of this play here. Good pull there. We see that Bubble's going to be doing a lot of damage. We see Twitch gets the kill onto Misfortune as a response. There's a lot of trading, a lot of damage. This fight is going back and forth. Hoodie Man does get a double kill, and we see Bubble picks up a massive double kill herself in response. The play ends up going the way of purple, 2-3. But Hoodie, he's still here. I thought Soul we were going to be talking, but remember, that's a Seraphine with a Twitch, so you still got to be scared. Right now, it does look like the side of purple. They want to get this dragon, but remember, that's an 80 carry with a support, and when that 80 carry is 603, you got to be careful. But a lot of the stuff has been used. I'm surprised that the root hit. That champion is one shot. It's just Hoodie. Hoodie's forced to go into stealth mode. I think he's wanting to look for a hero play, but right now, there's no heroine left to do. The play goes the way of purple, and it looks like that dragon and the soul's gonna go their way.
Thank you, Hoodie. Just recall on that one. Please don't give Bubble another kill. Oh, that went so awkward so quickly with that extended team fight. We saw ults going wide, ults landing on targets. The double cancel there from the MF ult from the Seraphine was beautiful. That huge Mordekaiser 3-man pull into the Lux E was ridiculous.
I will say, I think that was the big like difference maker in that fight, right? Because Misfortune, she didn't even get her big bullet time off. I mean, she's not as strong as the Twitch is, obviously, but still, bullet time, that is what you pick the champion for. But I do think the big play there was Urameshi buying enough time with his ultimate, right? You kind of are worried to get a fight started because you don't realistically know what's going on in the Death Realm. But still, great pull into a lot of damage from that Lux, right? She's sitting at 3 items. The Surge, the Flame, and the Echo. That is going to be doing so much damage to almost every member of this team. It's a lot closer of a game than we thought. The gold says otherwise, but this game could be anybody's.
Yeah, and as we saw, Bubble can one-shot Helium Bamboo with a combo. So that means Twitch is on the table
as we
too.
speak. Dragon! I thought if Helium got spotted there, that champion was dead. She has no flash. She's got to be so scared. I will say, though, Hoodie has not given over his shutdown yet. He is still very, very strong if he waits. But remember, look at this play, man. I'm seeing a Misfortune with Cloud Soul. How do you ever catch her? Because, like, Cloud Soul, it is the highest win rate soul in the game. I think I saw a stat the other day, Soul, that said the team with Cloud Soul wins 94% of the time.
Yeah, Cloud Soul's
that might be in solo
insane.
queue, but I mean, it's still a wild stat to see. 94% of the time, it is the strongest soul in the game. Getting move speed it's probably the best stat in the game. So I think, but you got to be careful. Then he's got his tower though, so he's safe.
Yeah, Urameshi just showing I can eat a couple tower shots.
But you know who's going to be eating a lot of tower shots and a lot of damage is Bardo. He goes in. Dragon is over the wall, not using the Cataclysm to lock down the Viego there. I'm surprised they didn't jump at the cake, right? Jump at the opportunity. But still, we see that Urameshi is pressuring this tower. Wolven does a good amount of damage, but Urameshi is pretty tanky for themselves as well. Not a lot of magic resist, though. And when you're taking tower shots, you got to eventually back off.
That was some amazing restraint by Foxhound. I don't know how you don't R the Viego there after he has used all of his abilities and his own ult to get away from you. And it's a free solar flare.
Restraint's a big word there, Soul. I think maybe Mistake could answer that question. I think you take that opportunity to kill the Viego every chance you get.
I
Right? You
agree.
have your team there, but maybe they were wanting to play it safe. They know they're technically down a little bit of gold. They want to wait for these objectives, fight at that even team fight, play on their own terms. So you know what? I don't hate it too much, but I think there was an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that, I see, boy, he dies there. That is an easy Baron that you cannot fight without Bardo. The majority of your gold, I think, is still sitting here on Bardo. Twitch is the other one who's able to carry. Hoodie's got 6-0. Yeah, but that lead difference is really on Bardo over the versus MF Twitch.
I mean, you're looking at it. It's basically a 3K gold lead over the Dragon, or over Dragon It Out. Dragon It Out is still doing a good job. He's kind of basically playing support Jarvan, which realistically is all you have to do in this game.
Yes.
The Lux and Misfortune do enough damage by themselves to carry these fights. You just realistically want to be locking down the people who are going to be doing the damage against you. As we see some damage is being done against Fox here. He lands the stun, and with the smite, you got to be careful to remember Cloud is going to land, as it looks like Pizza is now in a bad spot. The Flag and Drag's not going to land, but the Cataclysm you cannot miss, as the ultimate from Bubble is going to finish it off, leading to her Rampage. Now cutting over to the bot side, we do see that the Death Realm has been active. Woven is doing a good job of trying to buy space here, using the Reflect to try to get some damage to Flash in response, but now cutting over, we see with that pick onto Pizza, the Baron is being started. Using the Blast Cone there from Fox, it actually puts Viego in a bit of a bad spot, right? He's getting here. There's going to be, it's warded though. This is a 50-50 soul. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, hey, this Dragon, it could literally go either way. It is warded up. You got to look for these picks because at this point, it could go either way. But look at Hoodie. Hoodie's sitting in the wing. He's waiting for his opportunity to go in with the R. He is going to go ballistic. He is about to spray. And we're going to be seeing some praying as, never mind the bolt. Bubble, she lands it, she finds the angle, and Hoodie, he's dead. This is the angle that they needed. They were too overzealous. I thought they, oh my god, you see it, the Heartbreaker into Flash out. That is a Viego combo you have to learn in practice tool. It's not enough, and the play goes all the way to purple.
And that's what was scaring me about that whole thing. It's like, I respect you wanting to try and 50-50 that, waiting in the wings, but you have to dodge a lot of skill shots against the Lux in a very small area. You are playing like Russian roulette, because the moment a bind hits or an E hits, that ult is coming. And we saw Helium immediately gets popped, and then Twitch gets nailed off the solar flare into the bullet time, and it just, the lead has now evaporated. What was that 7K lead is gone.
The lead is not with us anymore. I will say the fact that Hoodie, he was going for the hero play. He got caught out. I don't know if he ran out of queue or they just spotted him out. They sniffed out the rat, as they say, but it just, yeah, they see it. You see the ease of execution, right? Bubble is up so much gold. She's at her spike where she can one-shot whoever she wants. And especially, I think it's weird that you're having the Mel be the one who's matching Mordekaiser in these fights, right? Send the Renekton in there, because Mel is going to be the person who's able to do a little bit of damage in return. She's kind of just been on side lane duty most of this game. And I think Renekton, he's sitting there, and I think most of the time he's going to get more value in the side lane, as we're going to have to see. He might be getting a little bit of value in the base, as he looks to be seeing a gray screen. Never mind, a good bullet time there by the side of Neon. It's doing a lot of damage. The double goes over to the Misfortune. The follow up there from Bubble is nice as well. As we see, Urameshi is on the hunt. He's trying to find the rat, but it's not going to be needed, as Elder is definitely enough, and it's better than a rat every single day of the week. We see it. It keeps on happening. That soul, it kills. It's just going all the way up purple. And that Elder Dragon, that might be what they need to finish off this game.
Yeah, it turns into a 3-for-2. Bardo, pretty amazing Viego ult across that side there to dodge Bubble's ultimate. Like, it doesn't last him very long, but there was a glimmer of hope when he did that he might be able to then turn around and grab that MF soul. It just looked very, very cool the way he flashed out of that. I like the mechanic play, but this scaling has gotten out of control. You can't deal with MF and the Lux, and they're prioritizing the MF.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I will say Mel is at 4 items, so she does, if she can get 2 fights and just start them off early, it's good. But I mean, looking at it, we talk about it, it's a team fight comp, but they could kind of play pick comp as well, right? If the Lux just lands a root ever, any of those champions are dead. They aren't strong enough, right? Renekton's not realistically building tanky other than the Sterix. I mean, he has Mercs, but like with how fed... Oh, and Lux just hit her rabbit on. Yeah, this is very, very hard to play. Lux has free control of this game however she wants. And with this Baron, they're trying to get the siege going. Like, it's tough here, Soul.
Yeah, they're now going to be really careful with this Elder buff. She doesn't even need to land a combo anymore. If that R hits Helium or Hoodie, they just die.
They die. They pop like a balloon. As we do see, this top tower is being sieged. There is no Baron anymore. But remember, you got to be careful here. It's Elder, and you're playing into a Lux. Misfortune is kind of in Narnia. She's not here yet, so it is a good amount of your damage. I kind of wonder if they know that this is the case. That's why they're pushing so far up. But looking at it, I think they're able to kind of just like brute force this tower. If they want pizza, you got to be careful, boss. But we see the root is going to like, oh my gosh, I hate Mel. Instead, she just blocks the entire ulti. That's kind of wild. But we see Hoodie, he is unleashed. He's doing a lot of damage to Urameshi. You cannot flash that ability, boss man. You are going to fall in the play. Even with Elder is going to go over to the side of Chrono. They're kind of doing a bit of a slow chase, but you used a lot of abilities there. So they'll end up taking 1 kill and a live tower as a pretty nice prize.
Yeah, Woven, great job. Knew what ability to hold and what abilities to take. Reflects the ult, doesn't die. So they end up getting that turn and save the tower.
I mean, it ends up going their way, right? That is the one thing you always think about it as a reflect. It's realistically kind of like an immortality shield. I mean, there are some things that goes bad, but Storm Surge! Oh, I was like, oh, he's gonna live, and then I forgot about that item. Good use there from Bubble to still get value out of this Elder. As it looks like right now they are going to continue to get it, as Dragon ends up finishing off the remains of that tower from that earlier play that we saw. Bardo is sitting out. He does have Kanik Rukern, so he can survive a little bit against Lux, but like I don't know if it's enough, as he's kind of just hanging out there trying to find ways back into this. But with Cloud Drake, they're going to skedaddle their way on out.
Yeah, we now see the pressure top, so the tower's been cleared up, and they gotta be really careful. Thankfully, Elder's gone.
Elder is gone, but bullet time is still an option here, as we're going to see Dragon is just dragging it out, as he's going to just flag and drag away. But we do see on the bot side, Mordekaiser is still trying to get value. Nobody is matching him at the moment. He's not incredibly strong, right? He's sitting at 1, 6, and 5, but still, Mel can match. But if you're sending Mel to match the Mordekaiser, that means she's not in these fights, and Mel is a good amount of the damage on this team right now, right? She is doing a good job of farming up, already at past 300. You know, I sometimes don't even get that high at this point. And it's like, you see, there is still an opportunity. I keep saying it, but like this game, it kind of keeps jumping back and forth. If a team fight goes the way of ChronoBreak, this still could be theirs.
Though, I think we're seeing the resets here for Baron coming out. Baron's up in 10. This is not the time, unless Pasta plans to TP back into this. This is going to get really scary, and this should be... If you lose this team fight here, this is game.
Oh, Bardo is... Oh my gosh, oh, if they just stayed in that bush, Bardo was for sure dead, as they end up just going for the vision. They obviously, you can't know that, but right now they're kind of doing the Baron dance, right? They're a little worried to start it, but I think, honestly, with how strong you are, that could be an opportunity. As Bardo was trying to go in, the stun does not land. But look at Fox, he got spotted, by the way, as I don't think they know that he got spotted, but the bullet time is going to land as the Encore does stop her in her track. We're seeing the good Cataclysm landing on a 3. Lux gets all 5! Helium is super low. The Flag and Drag is going to be enough. It's a lot of damage in return. Bardo's the only one left alive, but with the triple going over to the side of Lux and a double for the Misfortune, that's going to be game. And this is the final call, the curtain. This is your homage. This is where you run it down. You have the wave. You are going to just be taking towers. That's a game over to purple.
Yeah, Fox with the patience, just sitting in that bush. They lure everything out. Bardo once again misses that E-stun. And they didn't know, they figured the Leona was with the rest of that pack. And ooh, walking back in, you almost face check Leona, starts it with the ult, and you just get luxed. Name of this game, Lux.
Lux is a bit of an understatement. Bubble going 13-1-4, stealing a dragon to make it so her team and herself could get that awesome Cloud Soul. I mean, it ended up being back and forth. We saw the opportunity there for ChronoBreak to take that game away, right? Hoodie, man, was up so much. He was sitting on that shutdown, but it ended up being they got a little overzealous. They kind of let the plays snowball into them. And we just saw it. I think it was back and forth, right? If you keep snowballing, those gold leads went up. But we saw Contingent Esports Purple. They slowed it down a little bit. They kind of waited for their opportunities to make plays, and they found them. They were able to take the game because of it.
Oh, Badger, that damage chart is horrendous. If you saw that, 41,000 damage on that Lux. her own team isn't even within 10k of her.
I mean, you see it, and it's like Lux. That's the name of the game with the champion, right? I'm expecting it. I will say, I'm surprised, especially with people talking about how good her Lux was, that it wasn't a champion that you choose to ban. That was also a champion. She blinded it, right? She didn't get counter pick. She blinded it. She kind of got not a kind of a free game, right? We see it, and I'm just saying that comp is I would be foaming at the mouth to get a game of Lux like that, right? You got the Jarvan, Misfortune, Leona setup. It's crazy. And I think if you are the side of ChronoBreak, you have to ban it because it looks like if Mel is your option, you might be wanting to take a second, just, I think, remove it from the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure why teams are not respecting Bubbles Lux here. I don't think she's lost a single game the entire split on the Lux. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure she's still undefeated. And you cannot ego into her Lux. It has not worked for anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing it, and it's just like you have to. I think I'll just Lux and Ari. I think you should ban both of them, to be honest. But I mean, if you're wanting to hold on to it and you see some value in some of your other bans that you had from game one, it's fine. But I just think you need to either just try to shut down the Lux. You need to make sure, hey, make sure she cannot ulti my objective because it's going to be doing a lot of damage. The smites need to land when they're going to land, and it just ended up going her way, and she was by far and away the MVP of that one.
Yeah, completely agree. Bardo, runner-up, trying to hard carry from that Viego was tough. I thought Hoodie positioned well most of the time, which is very tough on the Twitch. Yeah, there's my top three.
Top three. I mean, that's fair. I will say, if I'm the side of ChronoBreak, I'm wanting to kind of rein in Pizza Pasta a little bit. He had those early plays with Bardo, but it kind of just felt like a lot of the fights, he was the one who was getting caught out first. He wasn't the one who was getting to engage onto the team. And when you're playing into a comp, that is the Jarvan, the Misfortune, the Leona, you have to be the ones kind of leading that charge. You can't give them the opportunity to make a play on you, because if they're making a play on you, you're gone and dusted.
Yeah, so pretty big statement game. Like, you had your opportunity, so it's ChronoBreak. It's very possible we are going to see them flip sides. So TD ChronoBreak will go over to blue. All right, Badger, put yourself in ChronoBreak shoes. What is your adjustment after that?
Ban Lux. But okay, that's a gimme. So I got to come up with some other things here. I would say keep Bardo on a carry. Like we said, his Viego did do a lot. He got a lot of stuff done. Obviously, also maybe find a way to give support counter pick as well. I think because they were able to pick Leona into that comp. I think if you give Helium a better champion to kind of like stop Foxhound from doing whatever he wanted on the map, it could be a good angle for them. I mean, it's still tough. I would say Bardo on a carry, play around him. That is your angle. Because I will say overall, even though Dragon had a good performance, I think Bardo was the saving grace of that ChronoBreak roster. And I think if he's given Viego, maybe a champion like Graves, he could run away with it. But you got to be holding Bubble, and you got to be making sure that she cannot get away with what she did last game.
Yeah, I think there's definitely got to be pressure applied to Bubble here. Giving her free reign, I don't recall seeing maybe 1-2 ganks. Granted, Lux is pretty difficult to gank, but you got to get some pressure on her. Do not give her free reign. The other thing I will say is, got to see more out of Helium here. I think Fox rotated first, or at least as teams, to every single objective. The bot lane was there, or just Fox was there, and they were leaving the Neon to solo CS. So those calls are going to have to get a lot faster, and response times have to be there, because I don't think they got to a single objective first, that whole map.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I still think you keep the Amumu ban. I think Caitlyn was fine, but Rel, I think Rel is really strong at the moment. I think you potentially don't ban a support, and you just save that counter pick like we talk about. I think that is an angle for them. Like I said, Lux, it needs to go.
I think jump to spectate for you.
Whoops, I'm just kidding. As I'm just going to jump over now. As we're still waiting on that draft to get started, they're just getting an order for us. As we're going to be kind of waiting patiently. But yeah, I'm expecting, also with the switch to blue, I think it's interesting. I'm going to take a look at Wolven's OP really fast just to see if I see any of the Lux. I'm not seeing it a good amount. But with the fact they're going over to blue, I'm expecting maybe some champs like Wukong, I think, is potentially a B1 champ. You could go back with that. You could go back with a B1 Viego. Because, I mean, another angle with blue is usually support gets the counter pick on that side. Like, you can kind of force it a lot of the time. So maybe that's their angle to go for it. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I think this draft, it could be very similar. It could also be completely different.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see kind of where this goes. What's gonna be the call here? I assume the Lux doesn't come in. I would imagine the Viego doesn't come in. I would at least ban the Viego. I think that's the only ban I change if I'm purple here. Keep the Skarner ban. And what was the? I can't recall.
It was Zach and Tarek were the other ones.
Zach. Yeah, let him have the Tarek. Perfectly
think
fine. Give up the Tarek.
I think giving up Tarek is not the end of the world. Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Other champs that kind of jump out to me. I think Wukong, he did get nerfed. I think he's still sitting at a decent point right now. Obviously, I'm kind of looking at solo queue stats, but like looking here, Wukong is still that champion that gets a ton of value. He's a crafty little guy. He kind of can go where he pleases, and he just has a lot of threat always. Actually, he's not doing as good. He's sitting at about a 50% win rate, but in those coordinated fights, especially if Wolven's wanting to play a little bit more of those aggressive mid laners, that could be an angle they go for. Because I think Bardo, with how we saw him play game one, he definitely has the opportunity to make some plays on the champ.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is strong from that carry jungle position. You know, having him pilot the Viego, I think Echo could be in the mix here, or any of those really strong carry jungles. I think the game in his hands with Hoodie to be able to clean up, I see no issues with them. That being a solid win condition for them.
Mm-hmm. I also think another reason they might have chosen to go over to blue is to potentially take away the misfortune. The thing is, I know that, I mean, my support talks about it all the time, but Braum is a champion that everybody's like, oh, you can never play misfortune into Braum. I don't think it's as strong as people make it out to be. Obviously, the shield is strong, but you got to think about it. We talked about it earlier, right? If you just hold on to the ability, you're putting a ton of pressure on this Braum to make it so he can't use that ultimate, right? We also saw a good amount of value with the Seraphine to shut it down. So I think it's potentially an angle here where it's like we could get it done, obviously, but I think Misfortune could still be that B1, and I don't think a Braum ban is necessarily the thing that has to be done.
So I'm trying to figure out what they're doing here with links.
Links are always the funniest.
Okay, I think they sent wrong links around. We seem to be good. Now the teams have ironed that out. And we do see that immediate Lux.
There it is. I mean, you talked about it, right? The Lux ban immediately coming out there. I think everybody could have predicted that. I think my mother could have predicted that, and she hasn't played League of Legends ever. As we do see Zach is coming out now, but Ahri, I think actually great response there. I was thinking Ahri was going to be a ban immediately. So Lux and Ahri, they saw that Bubble was that key difference maker in that game. I will say probably, I'm looking at it, they could ban out Urgot. I think Rel is probably the most likely answer, unless they're wanting to take away Caitlyn. Or they could ban Caitlyn. It's probably Rel Caitlyn here if I had to guess, but over on the other side, it's going to be the Zac, it's going to be the Skarner. And there's a chance Viego comes out, but it's actually a Kali. So they're just straight up saying, Bubble, we are very afraid of you. We're just going to ban your top 3.
Yeah, full respect coming over to Bubble. That may be more than what is needed to just flat out pinch her champion pool, but I like the idea of it. Yeah, if you think this player is their strongest, this is the key. Let's just throw 3 bans at them, take them completely out of the game, and see just how deep that champion pool can go.
I mean, that is a potential angle. As we do see Amumu was let through. I think that is Bardo's by far and away strongest champion. So I think it's a little nuts he got away with it. Maybe they just think the champion is not broken. Newsflash, guys, the champion is broken. They say, oh, it's only a new person champion. It's not. The champ has so much threat with the double bandage toss now. The fact that he got 2 of those is mind-blowing to me. Also, the ult, the Curse of the Sad Mummy, is crazy. As Volibear is going to be the response, I don't like it as much. I think Volibear has the opportunity to get away with a lot early, but I will say Dragon wasn't super active, as we do see Caitlyn is let through. That was a ban that we saw last game that is sent over, and it will be the side of Neon Sword is going to get one of his favorites, if not his favorite champ.
Yeah, this is part of the almost penalty phase you have to pay when you triple ban someone here in phase one. You're giving everybody else on the team free reign to play comfort. I think the volley could be a flex between jungle as well as top, so we'll have to see exactly where that goes. I do expect the MF to get picked up here for Hoodie.
To be honest, I'm surprised it wasn't picked up over the Caitlyn, because I know he has a lot of time on the Misfortune as well. I think with that comp, if you don't go Misfortune, I'm going to be a little disappointed. Just you get so much lockdown with the Amumu. Brand also has a good amount of lockdown himself. It's also just so magic damage heavy. You need an AD threat, and it's not going to get locked in. This time, they are just waiting. They're tantalizing us a little bit, as it's being Nico.
Nico.
Oh, and you know, we could have seen a lot of picks. Soul Nico was not on the top of my radar there. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, I kind of see what they're doing here in draft. Nico wasn't in my realm of possibility. Like, hey, we want a really easy comp to play, and we're all just going to hit R. I get it.
Yeah, they all hit R, but you know who hits R and has a magic shield attached to it is Galio. And I think Galio gets... It's crazy you lock 3 AP in your first rotation, and Galio is not at the top of my radar. I'm a little nervous for you, because Galio just gets so much value here with the ultimate, right? The Shield of Durand that he gives to every member of his team with the hero's entrance. It's scary, and when you're looking at this this basically wombo style of comp, right? The Amumu and the Nico, if Galio's not in that initial trap, he's able to get that free ulti, he's able to give that free shield, and he's able to cause some damage to that team over there on Chrono.
Yeah, I'm actually expecting that. I assume the MF ban has to come out here from Contingent. You know, don't give them that stronger AD AoE to stack on top of this. Force some Hoodie back on the Twitch. I think that's fine. You handled the Twitch well. But yeah, you kind of really want some disruption, some disengage. It's gonna be the Urgot. So
I think
MF able to go over.
maybe if it is Pizza Pots' comfort, it's fine to go with that. I do think the MF ban was what I would have liked to see. I just think also maybe they're saying, hey, we're going to send Brand in a bit of a weird spot. But, like, I'm just looking at the situation and I'm thinking Misfortune has to be the lock. Over on the side of Contingent Purple, though, I think it could go either way. I'm expecting that they lock in the support here. Tarek was taken away. I would actually have gone Tarek or the Morg, which could ban over on the side of Chrono.
I
but
would love the Tarek here for them. Sure.
Yeah, the Tarek would have been so nice to have. But I think we have a lot of options
right now.
Nami's a very good one as well.
Nami's
also,
fine.
Milio would have gone crazy. Actually, yeah, Milio would have gotten so much value into the Amumu as well as the Brand, cleansing that. I think Nami is very solid as well, especially if it is comfort for you. It's a good pick to have. Just gives a little bit more disengage, a little bit of healing, which is always nice to have, especially against the burn that is going to be coming from Amumu, the Brand. But yeah, just thinking about it, it's kind of spooky. I'm thinking Misfortune's the lock here.
It has to be.
It's actually Rakan.
Okay, more AoE,
Wait a minute.
Charm. Sure.
Hang on. Wait. Is Nico the top laner?
I'm not sure where they're going right now.
Because you see what I mean? Like, they lock Rakan, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like,
does that make a Brand mid? Nico?
Yes. It could be Brand. It could be Brand 80 carry as well.
I think we're seeing some shenanigans right now.
Some shenanigans. I don't know if they're good shenanigans, but shenanigans is what they are. Jax is the final pick.
Jax.
It's top Jax. You know what pick goes crazy here? If Urameshi plays it. It's the guy who screams "bro" at you. It's Olaf. if Olaf gets through,
Olaf would be so strong.
Olaf does so good into Jax. It also just shuts down Amumu. It kind of shuts down Rakan. Knockups are a little bit scary. I don't know if Olaf is picked. It's not as often of a pick, but I'm expecting it. As Rock is the answer.
Not that magic damage. That's questionable.
There's a whole lot of magic damage over there. Okay, so it looks like actually Brand is going to be the 80 carry in this team comp, as they're going to go with Nico mid. I still want to see what the lock-ins are going to be. I think Brand 80 carry is fine. Usually you want it paired with the Nami, but Rakan, obviously you get some value too, and maybe they're just saying, hey, that's our answer into the Caitlyn, because Caitlyn, she's known as the lane bully for a reason. She is the co-op. She is the police. Collapse not a real word, guys. I apologize.
Yeah, boy, I can see this either way. Like, I have strong opinions of whether Brand should be bot here or should be mid, because I kind of like freeing up the Nico with its own lane ganks, and that's so much easier to pull off bot lane than that is mid lane. You're generally not going to catch your mid laners sleeping. They're very good at counting minions, and you don't have so much to pay attention for. So I'm not sure it gets enough value, but I'm very concerned about the R5 Malphite. That has to be comfort.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum it does well into Jax, sure, but who are you Malphite ulting in these fights? You know, like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you are that primary engage that gives Galio the opportunity to go in. I kind of think, I mean I still am diehard on Olaf. Would have gone so crazy in this draft. Maybe it's just not a champion that he's comfortable with, which is fine. I think if Malphite is, I think it was banned against him last time. That's not too bad,
yes.
but it's just you're playing into Brand, a Mumu, Nico. You're gonna get blown up, and you're not getting a ton of value out of your passive like Galio is. Galio's getting value. Malphite, on the other hand, he's kind of just getting it out of Jax.
Yeah, it makes me very concerned for Contingent's damage here. You have Caitlyn. Where else is your damage coming from? Malphite, if he builds AP, that's over. That can't happen. Are you counting on Volibear to help carry? Like, who outside of Caitlyn, and there's a lot of CC for Caitlyn to dodge here. Who's killing anyone?
I will say Volibear does a metric ton of damage. If he gets ahead early, especially, which is kind of the name of the game with the Contingent purple comp, right? Because you look at it and like they have the 80 carry in this draft, so that is a plus side for them. So technically they have that late game scaling, but you just think about the situation and these team fights, just with the way it's going, Malphite doesn't enjoy these fights, right? He's gonna go in, he's getting blown up by the Amumu and the Brand. Like blown up. Like it's not even close. Like it's like a Looney Tunes explosion with how bad he's gonna be like kaboomed. But like you just see the situation here and you're like, I will say ChronoBreak, Jax does AP damage still. It's like kind of, he does more AD, but he still is doing some AP damage. It's all AP from the side of ChronoBreak.
Yes.
If I'm not seeing a Caitlyn with Merc Treads, I'm going to be a little disappointed, right? You just stack MR, and I'm just thinking, how are you going to get enough value out of this? I just think it's a weird situation where, like, I think neither team is going to do damage except for this Caitlyn.
I think Galio's never dying, I guess. Like, he has no reason to build anything but every MR item that he can. Just give me 6 MR items and perfect Galio here.
And I mean, we talked about it. It's bubble.
Yeah.
It's the bubble on the Galio, right? I think she has, we saw the opportunity. She was playing a little bit passively with the Lux, but this time she's going to be going in. She's going to be causing some problems. I will say Nico sometimes causes some issues for Galio, but that's realistically only in lane. Outside of lane Galio, he's going to have the ulti to protect his team. And I'm going to be excited to see how it ends up going as we are finally, they have locked in their picks, and we're going to wait on that spectator delay. We'll be right back as soon as that game gets started for you guys.
never see the lights out. They get me overdrive. Fancy on a fast car. This is how you make me feel. Don't stress me now. I got the overdose. I'm feeling it in my bones. And if you say that I'm lying to you, these habits are killing me. I wish I could fall asleep. The problem is you. Oh, I got the overdose. Oh, you are my overdose.
Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2 of this series between Contingent Purple and TD ChronoBreak. We saw a back and forth Game 1 there, but it ended up being Purple that took it home. As now Game 2, we see what I would call pretty interesting drafts here. The wombos that are coming out from this really AP-centered TD team could be very, very strong, but over on the other side, we do see pretty good response here. We have the Galio, the Nami, the Bear, but then the wild card, and Malphite was locked in. They want to go in, but remember that's an armor stacking champ soul, so we'll have to see if it gets as much value as we're hoping.
Minions have spawned.
So that's actually, you got bamboozled there. That is Nico. That is the one who's trying to get it, as it does look like Barda, but remember, you see that how he's got that funny little glow around him. That means that they ended up switching around. The two Amumus will eventually become one as she gets revealed. She's trying to get the camp there. She's trying to go for a trick. It's weird you're going for it level 1. I will say most people, they can count their minions. They know, hey, level 1, I still got to be worried. But you're always counting. I feel like the minion doing a little bit of shuffling, like he's a champion, might be giving it away. It's to say, but it doesn't show on the mini-map. As you're going to be taking a lot of damage. Remember, you take the minion's amount of damage as Nico. Like, look how much that 1Q did because she was a minion. That's the one thing you got to be careful of. I play a good amount of Nico, so you can abuse the fact that your passive is super, super strong. But also, have you seen the clips where you smite a minion and they just instantly die from full HP? It's very funny, but still, you're taking a lot of damage as the minion because your resistance is matched. So, what is going to be doing a lot of damage is Pasta doing a great job on Jax. As we see the knockup is going to land here from Helium, but Hoodie wasn't in the best spot to get the follow-up. But Urameshi is getting absolutely chunked out right now. He's forced to pop both of his pots already. So right now, it looks like the waves and the lanes are actually going the way of ChronoBreak this time. Yeah, pretty much even. I mean, we just look at the way these lanes are supposed to go. Malphite, he kind of needs to get to 6 before he can kind of be that real abusive person up top lane. Jax, he's okay to kind of just, hey, I'm going to play it slow. Even though I'm taking Comet damage, I still have Grasp to kind of get that slow. I'm going to be playing it. So as we see, that Counter-Strike is going to be landing. Good trade there from Pasta. But now, cutting over bot, every time I feel like I'm moving back and forth, there's always fighting here. They're making it interesting here. And they say, hey, we're going to be throwing hands. We're not going to concede anything.
Yeah, Brand is always fairly aggressive, wants to do a lot of poke, try to look for that stun. They have a decent all-in combo, but they have to land the stun first.
As we do see now, the junglers have finally finished up their initial clear. Actually, Amumu did skip a camp. He chose, I think, to hang out, look to see if he could get Urameshi caught sleeping. But this time he does not, as he is down a little bit. He's probably going to have to circle back to get it. But the trades are coming out as Blow Bubble finds a good engage, basically landing the full Galio combo with your Aftershock. Even with the return damage from the autos and the Q, that ends up going the way of Bubble. And you think about it, the pots have been used. That next trade could be lethal for either side.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out of Galio early with just a Doran's ring.
You got to think about it. It's a lot of the time the Aftershock, if you land your E, you're able to, I believe how it works is each time you land an ability, it basically reduces the cooldown on your passive. If you're able to get 2 of your basically like double fist slams, I don't know the exact word for it, so we're going to call it a double fist slam moving forward. It does so much damage. When we're seeing damage was almost done as the Grand Entrance, the Rakan, that's his ultimate, but the W still, it wasn't able to land, so they're able to just get some good return damage here from the side of purple. As the Ws are landing from Brand, but still, his damage is not too high yet.
Yeah, not yet. Really needs that that ring before that damage starts to kick off. Makes it a little more interesting, the extra burn effect. Kind of scary positioning with the traps.
Scary positioning, but there is always the backup of Rakan. He's just going to shield you, but the bubbles are still making it scary. But now we're seeing with that pressure that they exerted bot lane, it looks like they're going to potentially be getting this dragon over for free, especially with the fact Bardo has 2 wards in his jungle, right? That is good usage there. I forget whose wards those actually are. It's actually the support, so it looks like Nami found her angle to go for those wards, especially with Kate having that pressure. But now looking at it, they are wanting to fight. Here's the flash. I didn't see it, Helium. You're okay. But we see now Dragon is in a bit of a bad spot. He gets rooted and kabooted as the taunt is going to land onto Helium, but he's able to E out for safety there. You know, it's so low, and they try to find the play, but with the fact your jungler's dead, Dragon, he goes in, but we see Galio's going back in here, but you're doing damage here, actually. Neon's able to pick up the kill onto Helium, but with the Brand passive, it's going to be enough. The E barely avoiding that bandage toss. So walk me through that a little bit, because I don't think I did it justice there.
Yeah, that ended up way crazier than I was expecting there. They get Dragon out pretty early there from the misposition. There seemed to be some communications. We're going to fight it. We're not going to fight it. Volley goes down pretty early, and then they start to collapse there through that jungle because they landed the root there on the Caitlyn for Neon. Little bit of poke up top, but Bubble with the hero play dashes in to take the additional bandage tosh. So they couldn't finish off Caitlyn, and it ends up being a 1-for-2, so not entirely disastrous.
That is, I mean, like, it was a hero play, but the hero, this is basically Black Widow, right? It's the hero that we ended up losing down the journey. As, I mean, she ended up dying. She was the hero, but, like, they didn't get as much off of it as they probably were initially wanting, right? They were able to keep Caitlyn alive, and she gets that early kill, but hey, look at that. Brand also has one under his belt. Also, as we're looking at it, Rakan does get hit, and we see Blow Bubble falls up. Going to be a two-man taunt here, so it could be the angle. We see Dragon is going in with the charge. Pizza Pasta, he's in a bit of a bad spot. He does pop the ultimate, but the Galio ultimate is canceled. You got to be careful with using it. Good stun there from Pizza, but now it's looking like Dragon. He's low. The feed is going to be going over to the side of ChronoBreak. Is it only going to be a 1-for-1? That Grub is still hanging out. He's doing his damage. He's doing the thing. And right now, even though ChronoBreak is on the retreat, it ends up being pretty advantageous there for them.
Yeah, it's actually a 1-for-0. Caitlyn did not show up to that fight. So they just end up losing Dragon out again by again taking a 5-for-4 odd-numbered fight. Like, it almost goes completely disastrous, but they even pick up the feats for it.
I mean, you just see a lot of the play just didn't go their way, right? Galio using the ultimate kind of in range to have it canceled, right? You still get the shield off, but that knock-up, it does a lot of damage. And we see the ultimate is used kind of just say, hey, get out of my lane. As we're just basically, we saw this game one, they did this exact same thing last time, right? Where they sent their mid laner, they sent Alchemist down to that side lane when grubs are coming up. That's a good use of your macro there. And it ended up kind of helping them out, right? They sent the bot lane up, they had the Brand, they had the Rakan. That ended up being a big reason for why they won that fight. We'll have been doing a little bit of cheeky shenanigans, but you only have Lost Chapter at this point. Why do you have Lost Chapter on Nico? I don't know. As usually I don't see, maybe she's going Malignance, but most of the time I opt into the Proto Belt, because realistically, you're kind of just playing for your one shot. You want to be doing as much damage to get that engage where you can find it. But Malignance, it gives you your ultimate up a little bit longer, and you still get the magic resist. So, I won't hate on it too much.
Yeah, it does seem like it is going to be the Malignance build. I'm also not used to seeing it either, so we'll have to see how that all pans out. We do see that they get the kill, the Rift, but it did cost them only 10 CS, so you're probably not too unhappy with that 10 CS going over to Kate versus your Brand?
I mean, the one downside of it is the fact that they did not get all three. But what is a good upside here is the fact that Nami is caught, but that is a two-man bubble.
here.
This actually might be the play they need. The Dragon is here. The Call of the Thunderman is here, and Neon picks up a kill onto Bamboo. Bamboo has been bam dropped. That was so bad. I'm sorry, guys, but it doesn't matter. We see that it ends up being a 1-for-0. Hey, and we see that Purple, they're going to go down swinging here.
Yeah, Bardo's saying, hey, I kind of want this.
Oh, and you know, it looks like Dragon wants it too, but Bardo, he's kind of by himself as we do see good bubble there, but Nami, she's in a bit of a bad spot. This fish is about to be sashimi. She's hit by the bandage, and Hoodie Man picks himself up his second kill of this game.
Yeah, and we are seeing Woven first to rotate now to 3 fights back-to-back, gets that lane push in on Galio, and is able to get to these fights first. And one thing I said during draft that I wanted to see from Helium is faster rotations. I am seeing that out of all of ChronoBreak here. They are at these fights first.
At the fights first, it is what they need to be seeing here. As Dragon is forced to stop his base. As Bardo was hanging out, he's saying, I'm going to be tossing those bandages directly onto the bear there. But I will say, one thing I'm looking at is the fact this Caitlyn already has her first item. This is the person you need that gold to be on realistically, right? She has her Yuntal. She's going to continue to scale as this game goes on. If she is protected, she realistically, there aren't a whole lot of people who are going to be doing damage to her, but damage is going to be come onto Helium here. He goes in for the engage, but now the Nico is able to find 2. Foxhound is hit by the root. That electrocute is going to be enough as the auto to finish it off. Bubble still trying to do enough to buy time. Helium goes in with the W, but it's not going to land as Urameshi, he TPs in. Nimbus cloaks his way on out as he says, hey, I'm no longer needed here. But that is a great pick, and it looks like realistically this is going to be another objective going the way of Chrono.
Excuse me. Yeah, once again, it's an odd number fight in favor to ChronoBreak. Neon isn't there. Urameshi laid on the teleport, and it's, I mean, you're fighting 5v3, and it doesn't go in your favor.
Not at all. I thought we were going to be seeing a 1v3, but Bubble doing a good job of realizing, hey, they're probably going to come and show me who's boss, so she's going to back off here. But we're seeing the 3 amigos here. Hoodie, the support, and Bardo himself are all hanging out, and they're saying, hey, we took an objective. Why don't we get another one? These grubs are what is on the cake. But they're saying, hey, we're going to fight this here, as the ultimate is going to be potentially on the horizon. The W is landed, but that's a massive bandage toss. It hits all four. Wolven is trying to do enough damage on the return, but it's not enough as Bardo goes in. He lands the damage toss. He does give over the shutdown here as Urameshi goes in with the ultimate. Boss, you have no more damage. You have a Nami, but still, now cutting up. Oh, I don't know if you saw that bot lane, but that was the flash to assert your dominance, I guess. But still not punished there. Uses the flash, uses the barrier. That must have been a little bit of a fat finger moment. But, wow, I mean, it ends up being a 1-for-0. Bardo doing this hero grace. He's got the 4-man ulti, but it ends up going that the Grubs went the way of Purple.
Yeah, it was a 1-for-1. Bardo did die on that off the Amumu. And then we saw an amazing flash for dominance into the face of a Jax. I like it. That's spicy. That's really I'm gonna know. You shouldn't be down here.
You should not be down here. I will say with Urameshi's also his Valiant ulti to buy enough space. He did set up his team to get those. But still looking at it, I think neither team, like, I think that ChronoBreak, they got one of the Grubs there. So it makes it so that no feats of strength points were used on any of those Grubs. So those objectives, it's nice to have them. We won't see any of the Voidlings running around the map. I miss those guys. They're always so fun to see. But still, so that essentially does still put a timer on it. And we're looking at it. ChronoBreak is still in the lead because they have those 2 dragons. So this next objective for them is going to be those points over to them.
Yeah, it's great to see this adaptation from ChronoBreak. I wanted to see them move earlier. They're doing it. We're seeing a lot of lane swaps, though, and it's starting to make me uncomfortable. It's a very scary pace when teams start lane swapping this fast, and you can start seeing mistakes and people getting lazy about the direction and how they're pathing for these rotations and getting picked off.
So I don't know if you saw what I saw, but Nico is known for her trickery. Would you say ulting to assert dominance on a Malphite, just ulting just to whiff is a way to assert that dominance? I'm just curious. Because that is what we just saw their top lane. I don't know if it was a misclick. They're a little nervous, right? Obviously, you can't be playing perfect. You are going to potentially make those mistakes, but still. You see here, oh my gosh, I'm surprised that bandage actually landed. Fox is in a bit of a bad spot. That second bandage is near to follow, but the traps are going to make it so that Amumu is not wanting to continue to go here. But still, you look at the situation. This Nico actually went for the Ludens. She's going for the full one-shot, which works, right? You have Electrocute. It's buffed really, really heavily. I think it's a little overtuned at the moment, to be honest with you. And you're doing good amounts of damage. Look at that. It's a tanky Malphite. Even if he has armor, it's still Malphite, so not too bad.
Yeah. It's a better matchup for the Nico right now. There's no magic resist on this Malphite, so Malphite's not going to enjoy this lane whatsoever.
Not enjoy it at all. I will say, I'm looking at the situation here. I'm surprised the gold lead is only 600 over to the side of Chrono. I would think this game, just looking at how it's gone, would be a little bit more in favor. I think a lot of it is just looking at where the gold is. Like we talk about it, Caitlyn is still pretty far. Like, she's ahead, actually, of Brand. I was going to say, even, she's ahead. And, like, that's where you want it to be. And, I mean, just looking at the rest of the way this gold is going, Malphite actually is up gold on the Jax. He picked up that kill for himself, and he's already got his Sunfire, so that's good. So this game, we talk about it, the kills are not in the favor of Purple, but gold, this game is still anybody's.
Yeah, and, like, we saw that play kind of starting to develop. Here's the gank.
Is landing, but remember, you got Counter-Strike. You're just basically gonna... There's nothing that can go through that, unfortunately. Volibear kind of gets... He gets countered pretty hard by the champ, right? The Counter-Strike is just... It's good, you can hold on to it, but obviously he's gonna use that stun after, so... A bit annoying, but... I will say, just a continued thing I'm seeing here from the side of ChronoBreak is they're sending Wolven onto the side lane so often, right? He's getting his farm leads up, but we'll have to see if that matters. So we do see that the E is going to land, but hey, that looks like deja vu. I think I saw that basically 20 seconds ago. The exact same gank. Volibear goes in, the Counter-Strike is used, but what is new is the Curse of the Sad Mummy's gonna find the Nami, and it's gonna be Dragon next. Double kill goes over to Bardo, and with that Dragon spawning in just 7 seconds, I think that's going to be one away from that soul for them.
Yeah, it should definitely have to be. I don't know if Neon didn't call it out that suddenly both bot laners were missing with all the lane changing and lane swapping. Again, those rotations was fairly clean, but it's another odd-numbered fight where Contingent's just out of position. They get 3v2'd insta-popped.
Insta-popped indeed. And you know what else is going to be leading to some insta-popping is the move speed that is coming from a back-to-back Cloud Soul in this game. as it is Cloud Drakes that are the ones that are spawning. And you know, if I'm a Mumu, I'm pretty happy to be waddling a tiny bit faster. You get those opportunities to land those bandages that you need to make those hero plays. We've seen it already, right? He isn't building damage, but it still feels like he is putting on a hurtin', right? The Curse of the Sad Mummy followed up by Brand, followed up by the Nico. Also, one thing I forgot is the Mumu, I believe it's his E. It slightly reduces magic resist. It acts like an Abyssal Mask, right? So you're getting more value out of the Brand. You're getting more value out of the Nico. So this all magic damage comp, if it was any champions, I'd be okay with these ones. But,
So this is a 3v3, but they don't know it yet.
as we do see that the stun is going to land, followed up by a bubble. Good usage there, forcing out the flash and the W from Helium. As we do see right now, Chrono are the ones who are taking the bad end of that trade, but with no range champions here, it's still hard to pressure this tower, right? There's Nami, but like, what's she gonna do? You know, like, I mean, Malphite is pretty strong, right? He's sitting at the point, he's up a little bit of gold. But now, in talking about some gold, we see the taunt is actually going to land. He doesn't realize he actually got the right one. He thought he pulled the clone. If he just went in there, he did his damage. That could have been a dead chameleon. But still, he's happy. They're happy to take the trade. They're okay to be in this position, and they'll say, hey, we're going to take Shelly off of it. So, not too bad.
Yeah, really close for Bubble, and some good confidence here for Contingent if they realize that's the first even-numbered fight that's happened in this game, and they won it pretty handedly. They didn't get a kill, but they really throw some dominance in that fight. That did not look good for as much gold as ChronoBreak was up.
Yeah, I mean, it's about 1k at this point, so that gold has gone up a tiny bit, but looking at it, it's about to even out as that tower falls, but Rakan is making the play. The Grand Entrance is landing, but there is no E on the side of Neon, but there's nobody else to follow it up, right? Bardo is a little bit late. Hoodie Man is a little bit late, but the flash for flash, good usage there to make sure you do not get hit by the ultimate, but Brand, his ultimate has been popped, but Galio, Bubble is here to provide the hero's interest, doing a little bit of magic resist on the side. They're trying to buy enough space and a good CC chain there to make sure that Helium cannot go back to his teammates. We see the killing spree is landing. The flash bubble from Foxhound. The stun to follow it up. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be scary. But remember, Bardo immediately gets popped by Neon. Neon has 4. This is where you want to be. Now cutting over bot side. Looking at this, we see that Pizza, he took the tower. But remember, Malphite's still a Malphite. You got to respect him a little bit. But looks like with the Counter-Strike, he's going to have enough to keep going, especially when you have a jump as well. But looking now, I want to give you time to talk slow, but there's so much action going on. Shelly's going to land, and it's going to be at 2 towers for nothing. We saw that gold lead be in the side of ChronoBreak. Not anymore. It is all that play went the way of the purple.
Yeah, really nasty team fight ends up breaking out there in the mid lane. The great CC juggling coming out from Bubble. The flash bubble. It's weird. We have a bubble actually in game, and then we have flash bubbles from Foxhound. Super aggressive, lands it on Bardo, and just steams ball what should have been a dead play. You know, you get your 1 tower and out, but the pressure to keep going, then drop the rift and really make them pay for that. It's just minor error stepping up in that mid lane like that.
I mean, you kind of see a little bit of a downside of the comp of ChronoBreak, right? They have a lot of times their damage is a little like you have to get the engage that you want, because if you keep these fights extended, I got a Caitlyn who already has her Infinity Edge and Yuntal. Also, shout out to Neon, by the way. That is a null magic mantle. This guy is going Merc Treads. He knows his stuff. He knows how much value that item gets into this comp, right? The Jack Stun, the Amumu, the Nico, the Brand, the Rakan. Like Merc Treads, I want to see it on every member, as I think that is what they're aiming for. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, but it looks like now that next objective on the angle is going to be that Voracious Auticon, the one that gives the respawns, as it looks like ChronoBreak are the ones who are set up here, as, you know, so I thought the gold lead was a little more in the favor of purple, but it's actually still pretty even.
Yeah, it just, it was even right when those mid towers, but I didn't see what happened where it kind of went over there where another 500 gold got picked up. But we saw from game 1, Otacon was kind of a disaster for both teams getting started up. Bubble ended up saving it with the Luxalt last game. But we're seeing the same sort of thing. ChronoBreak would like them to start the Otacon, and then they want to come in after the magic resist is shredded.
We'll say good by Wolven to kind of stay top lane a little bit and make sure that Bubble has to go and catch that wave top. She is still kind of that saving grace, as well as Brand has kind of been kind of slept on a little bit, right? He's still sitting at 304. He's down a sizable amount of farm, though, so the item advantage is still going over to the Caitlyn, but we see a TP's landing as Bardo is able to find the Malphite, flashing over the wall instantly. But remember, that's a Malphite. I think if you ulti away, I mean, he actually goes in, he hits the clone and Helium, but the Thunder God is here. Galio is going in to get the response. Bardo, but we see the flash engage. It's not able to land on the targets they want. Galio gets the kill. Amumu picks it up onto Nami. This ends up being a pretty close fight, but Neon is not touched in the back. But look at Pizza. Pizza's on the flank as Neon is on the run, but look, Pizza, I keep calling him out. He's in a bit of a weird spot as the E goes a little bit short. He does get taunted there. Dragon is trying to buy enough space with Hoodie helping him out, but still it's tough, and the members of Purple are low. Pizza, he was able to cause some commotion there to make it so it wasn't the worst fight ever, and Urameshi, who's hanging back out, he didn't die in that fight. He gets the ulti that they need, and the Dragon, it got started, and I think it's going to be finished here by Purple.
Alright, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I feel like Benny Hill music should have started playing as Pizza Pasta chases Neon around that whole bottom side jungle. They went almost over to Wolves, then across Blue, for then the Neon 2 blast cone back over into the river as Pizza was just trying to chase him down. Really good kiting coming out from Neon, who got to do 0 damage in that fight.
I mean, the threat of a Caitlyn is still the threat of a Caitlyn at the end of the day, right? But Pasta also is doing a lot of damage for this team. He is that AD threat for the team. He's the only AD threat. So him also being out of the fight, it let Bubble and it let Dragon do a good amount of damage in response, right? We see that Bubble already is sitting on a little bit of a shutdown, 1, 1, and 6. That's kind of sweet spot there. Also, just over on the other side of ChronoBreak, their engages just didn't go the way they wanted. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bardo did solo ulti the Malphite. Nico did try to do a good job of getting it in, but the flash engage just wasn't what they needed. Nami now is in a really awkward spot, as I thought that the bandage was going to be thrown her way, but this time they're going to be backing off. As we're seeing some trading up top lane, and this is actually a little bit scary if you are Bubble. You got to be careful here. If the ulti gets popped, look at this damage. Look at the threat that is coming out. They're trying to buy enough space, but if he's able to get the Q, it does, and the shutdown goes to the pockets of Pizza Pasta Mafia.
Yeah, Bubble, little aggressive there, playing pretty far up from that tower, and they're gonna have to concede this Otacon.
I think realistically, you're sitting here and you're the side of Purple, and you're like, hey, Jax is pressuring this tower. We need to back off and defend that because, but looking at it, they need to start it. Yep, good call. They're immediately starting it up. And with the fact that Malphite is over there to concede it, this Otacon is going to go the way of Chrono. And it's just like, good play there. The fact that you gave over that 1v1 kill just led to this play. And I know Bubble's probably kicking herself in the butt right now.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Neon recognize that everybody's down there. You had enough time to get a lot of damage on that mid-inhib tower. I think they could have probably made something happen out of that to kind of punish Chrono for sending that many. But they tops a decent constellation prize as well.
Yeah, top does seem to be falling here. Urameshi doesn't even care about the minion wave. Look at him. He just took 3 tower shots, and he's finally taken a little bit of damage off that HP bar. As we do see that tower is going to fall. They do have 3 grubs here, so they are going to be shredding towers relatively quick, especially with Caitlyn, right? She is still sitting at that 403 range. Looks kind of similar to where Hoodie Man was last game, where he was the carry. He had a lot of the damage on his side, but if Caitlyn does get caught, right? If she gets hit by the Stray Nico ult, the Stray Amumu ult, Jax just showing up out of nowhere, this game is tough. And I mean, I keep kind of saying, like, it's anybody's game, but, like, even after taking Otacon, it doesn't give you as much gold. It gives you the revives, but the gold lead is slowly but surely gone into this advantage of Purple.
Yeah, it seems like they're winning the fights over here for ChronoBreak, but it's not really mattering. Ooh, there's a catch.
He gets stopped there by the root as Bardo is going in with the engage here. But we see 2-man knockup, but Galio is here. He gets it. The flash is not enough. Great response there. 2-man taunt. Neon is free hitting. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is strong. The flash is not over the wall like they wanted. On the bright side, though, it is a withdrawal, but that's 15 seconds. You immediately start Baron here if you are the side of Purple.
100%. Like, you know your bot side, you're going to at least lose 1 tower.
Maybe more, as Wolven is kind of hanging out, trying to get some pressure. Jax is doing a good job of soaking up a little bit here, as Wolven over on the other side is trying to do some damage. Jax is kind of running through towers just to make sure he can get to this fight if he can. He took a lot of damage there. As Nico's going in, she's able to find the angle onto Neon, but with no damage in response, Neon is free hitting. She does get the kill onto the fish. Hoodie Man is here. He lands the stun onto the target that matters. That is a dead Caitlyn. This could be the angle that they need back into this. Pasta lands a two-man stun. Blow Bubbles falls. Bear falls in this Drake. Not the Drake, the Baron. Goes the way of TD. Oh, no.
Wolven stalls it out long enough. Pizza Pasta is able to rejoin. Respawns come in. And Urameshi doesn't TP into the fight.
I mean, regardless, Voracious Otacon, they aren't real kills. It's still nice to get those 15 seconds, but hey, they're going to be coming back. They're going to be coming back, and we saw it. Hoodie Man, he showed back up in that fight. He got the crucial damage. He got the crucial stun onto the target that mattered most. The Caitlyn falling means these fights are not playable for the side of purple, right? It is all on Neon's positioning. It is all on his damage, because looking at the rest of the team, Volibear is doing some damage, but look, he's building Spirit Visage. He's not doing the damage in this fight anymore.
Yeah, there needs to be, when you're in situations like that, you either have to decide we're ignoring the Nico and killing Baron, or we're killing the Nico. You can't half in, half out it. And that's what ends up being the call there. And
The call. The call, it is a big punish there. The gold lead is now very much in favor of TD Chrono. They also have that dragon. It's soul point for them. Soul. Soul for the soul. As it looks like they aren't even going to try to contest it. I think, like I said, giving over Cloud is super, super scary. I think you need to try to pressure it if you can. And we just see it, right? Foxhound is trying to get a little bit of vision over onto his side. Dragon is hanging out. He's able to get around the corner, so it's not completely doomed. But it looks like actually the members of Purple are trying to opt to just go for this mid push. I think it's not a bad call, especially when there is nobody matching this mid wave. Blow is the only one who's hanging out around it. But just looking at the position, it looks like Blow is actually going to run away. But they do have a wave. It's a small one, but they have enough. We need to try to find a way to get Dragon to TP. Remember, that new TP, it doesn't work that way anymore. But he's TPing to try to make this fight happen. This could be the angle to need. The hero's interest is live. Wolven lands the ultimate. It's not on the targets that matter. It's rooted. He's kabooted. He's getting damage off, but Pizza falls. He finds the kill that he needs. The Curse of the Sad Mummy's doing a ton of damage in return. Pasta is on a rampage. Pasta finds the angles, and this ends up being a massive fight. A triple goes to Pasta and a 5-for-1.
Yeah, like the idea was there to take that tower. You kind of committed a little bit over hard for it to get out. You made the best of that fight, but the Caitlyn protection really wasn't able to do it in that 5-man death ball stack. It was a decent 5v5, but that's where Amumu and Jax really shined. That counter-strike hit all 5 members. The Amumu ult hit all 5 members. And Hoodie Man's brand ult just sat there and bounced across all of them.
It bounced around and it caused some commotion for sure, as it is just Foxhound and the Caitlyn who are up to defend. Remember, you got to be careful that you do not kind of snowball this. You can't overchase, because you can do damage, but your members are up now. As we actually cutting over top side, we see Pasta is the one pressuring that. They're trying to see if they're going to give over this inhib. Honestly, good call from this. I know it sounds weird. Good call from ChronoBreak to not actually give up that inhibitor. Because if you give that inhibitor, you're just giving free farm over to Caitlyn. Because Hoodie Man, he's scary, right? There aren't a whole lot of people who could get onto him. But if Caitlyn finds the angle, there isn't a Zhonya's on him yet. He's still going to get blasted. So you're saying if you take inhibitor, you're giving over that free farm. It's harder to control the wave. So I think, and honestly, I don't know if it was what they meant to do, but good play there from Chrono.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think you want to take that inhib yet either. You know, Caitlyn's starting to get to that danger spot. Do not speed that up. You really want to end this on the next team fight. You got Elder in 4 minutes, Baron in another 2, but one more team fight you really want to push to end before Caitlyn gets to that 4th item. 4-item Caitlyn is a problem.
Nico's causing a little bit of funny business now. She's sitting as a control ward right in a pretty decent spot, as Pizza's hanging out as well. Nope, no, not going to go for it this time. You know what, maybe you don't want to waste too much time as kind of the Nico shenanigans occur. But I mean, just looking at it, right, this game, it was sitting good, but just the way that Baron fight went, you called it out perfectly, right? you have to either decide on if you're going to hit the Baron or if you're going to hit the person who's attacking you. And they went for that kind of middle ground. They didn't engage onto Alchemist there, and he was able to get an ultimate that bought the team enough time to get that fight going. Bardo, you're a little alone, man. They kind of are sitting there. Helium is here to help out, but you don't have the Jax. And Nico is running in. This could be a fight that they want, but ends up looking like they're just fighting over vision.
Yeah, good restraint from Bardo on that one, who's been very aggressive with these bandage tosses, just like the Viego stuns. We're gonna see a bit of a slap fight.
A bit of a slop fight indeed. I will say Jax is at the point now where he could just continue to fight. Malphite doesn't have to fight, though, at this point. He can just walk away. But if that fight kept going extended, right, it's going the way of the Jax still. So it's like, at this point in the game, you're thinking, who's going to match him? You kind of are sitting at a point where how do you play? Because the overall 5v5 is stronger in the side of ChronoBreak. The split push, overall stronger to the side of ChronoBreak. If you can keep the fights going longer, that is where it potentially favors purple, but Neon really needs to be positioning amazingly if that needs to happen.
Yeah, like you drafted the Nami here for this semi-disengage to draw out these fights. Don't sit in this 5v5 death ball. We're all going to stack on top of each other and hit R, because you don't win that fight against a Mumu, Brand, Nico, and a Jax. You do win these elongated, stretched fights where members get pulled apart.
As I will say, the Galio is also opting into complete magic resist, which is fine, but we saw it, right? If Caitlyn dies, where's the damage? There's no damage to kill this Jax, but we might see some damage killing the Jax as Neon is hanging out, so this Jax could be under threat. I think he realizes he is hanging out, as I would honestly... Oh, you gotta potentially call out the Q. They are on the run. They are trying to make this play happen, but remember, Jax, he can keep running for a while, and especially with that Cloud Soul, ends up being an ulti for naught, and look at the Baron Soul.
Yeah, the chase there, they get to call the Baron.
Wait. Oh, you gotta go instant. You just gotta pop your ulti. He's gonna use his ulti to get out. Never mind. He's actually just trying to fight his way out, but it's not gonna be enough. Bardo picks up the Baron for his team. The gold lead, it's sitting at about 10k. I mean, the bot laner, or the top laner and the bot laner, the duo you don't see that often, are trying to pressure this tower. So there's a good amount of damage, but remember, it's Baron for nothing. I think I know who that favors.
Yeah, good call from ChronoBreak. You send those two people bot side for some reason with Baron up. You have to know that is immediately going to get started. ChronoBreak makes that call. And you spend a lot of time, got absolutely nothing for it, and lost the Baron.
And I mean, just looking at it, there are still the angles, right? Caitlyn, she does damage. Right?
Sure.
But you know who else does damage? A Brand who's supported by the Nico, by the Rakan, by the Nico. I think I said Nico twice, by the Jax. So it's like, you also see the Void Staffs are finally being itemized. I'm surprised that this Amumu did not end up going for the Abyssal Mask. I think that item gets so much value. It's
Agreed.
insane. But we're seeing the Elder has finally spawned, and it looks like the positioning is favoring the side of Chrono. They're kind of doing a bit of a bush stack, which is needed over on this blue. But we do see the members are grouped up. Caitlyn, you gotta be scared. You gotta be cautious as Bardo is hanging out in the wing. The W does miss, but the Grain Interest is gonna land. It finds Caitlyn. The Nico ult. Good flash there from Neo to buy enough time. We're seeing this might be the fight that they need. Bardo finds the engage he needs. The Curse of the Sad Mummy does land onto the Caitlyn. Dragon is trying to buy enough space, but Hoodie Man is godlike. It's gonna be tough. You're seeing the... Oh my gosh, Pizza does so much damage. The fight's going bad. It might be getting worse. The 5-man taunt might not be enough. Still, Blow Bubble's trying to do what she can, but it ends up being a clean ace. And you know what else? That's a clean game from the side of Chrono. We are going to game 3.
Yeah, great job from Chrono. They set up the vision. They know the correct target to dive there. You know, Neon Sword's the only one they really have to worry about out of this comp. The damage just isn't there running just a single Caitlyn. And yeah, Pizza Pasta able to find that target and put out a ton of damage on him.
I mean, we talk about the story of that game. I thought going into that, I guess basically the 9th pick of that draft, it was kind of wraps for the side of TD. I think it was just too much magic damage, but then they kind of got bailed out by that Malphite pick, right? It's just you're saying, hey, we have that engage and it does well into the Jax in a vacuum, but League of Legends is not just an isolated lane. you sit here and I'm saying, hey, I'm playing with a Volibear who's going tank. I'm sitting with a Galio who's going to be going tank. Caitlyn sure is going to do damage. That's not enough to win you a game. You need to be going with the champions like the Olaf, going with champions. I forget who else does well into Jax, but like you need damage. And there was just no damage. It just let them like because those fights went on for so long, a lot longer than they should have. If you had damage from the side of Contingent Purple, I think that game was theirs. It's just you sit there and I'm like, Malphite, he's cool, but why are you wanting to engage into that comp? Why are you wanting to engage into a Moo brand? It's so scary and it's so tough.
Yeah, the single damage threat I think really hurt there. I agree. I think the Malphite really just spelled doom. It did not work. I thought the rest of the comp was completely fine, but you needed something stronger to be able to give that dual threat because the pylon for Caitlyn was just extremely strong.
I mean, that's all. It was just the name of the game. That's all you had to do. And like, I mean, just looking at it, I will say Bubble did not look as strong on the Galio as she did the Lux. I do think that top lane where you gave over that shutdown to Jax, Pizza Pasta just snowballed with it, right? We saw that he was able to continue to get those kills going. And Galio, like, he can do damage, but not to a top laner who's been farming free grass procs all day. That's where it gets tough. And you just see I'm wanting to see from the side of purple, you need to be drafting some damage. I know that you maybe want to be playing that like passive style. You're wanting to put it all on Neon Sword. At least maybe I need to see Bubble on a damage threat because the Galio she was strong on it, but it's not enough.
No, I completely agree. And it looks like teams have requested a 5. So do you want to jump us out? Or do you want to
I think we'll
go on
I
for a
think
bit?
we'll jump out. I think we'll jump out and we'll wait on that draft links to get posted for us. We'll jump right in. We'll immediately give you the quick rundown as we'll also follow suit with that 5-minute break here as we will be right back as soon as we get into draft for you guys.
We will fall apart. That's the way it goes. Even though we're apart, heaven only knows. We will fall apart. That's the way it goes.
Welcome back, everybody, from that quick break. We are jumping right into the ban phase here, as the first ban is actually going to, well, they hovered it last time. I'm not going to say it's Urgot, but it is Contingent Esports that are taking back over Blue as well, so the sides have swapped. But what hasn't swapped is these bans. It's a Zac as well as a Lux ban. They saw how strong it was game one, and they're saying we're not letting it through for the rest of basically the split. I would say series, but I don't think that champ's ever getting through, as it's going to be Zac and Skarner from the side of CEP, as Ari is that next ban. I'm expecting it to probably be the Akali as a response, as Urgot is what they're hovering. We saw what Pizza could do on his Jax, but it ends up being Taric, so it's almost identical. It is identical for game 2.
Yeah,
And they
and
just
this
give over a
time
Mumu.
they take the Mumu.
Oh, wait, they take a Mumu. Actually, they didn't give it away. As Gwen is the immediate response.
Pick.
I think that is the answer. Ooh, Gwen Misfortune. So they are taking it away. No, ChronoBreak is taking, yeah, they are taking it away. It's Hoodie Man who's piloting the champion. Braum is still left up. We talked about it a little bit during game 2. I don't think it's as strong of a counter as people are making it out to be. It helps against the Gwen needles, which is nice to have, but I think it gets some value. But remember, like, there's champions like Rakan, there's champions like Rel that can kind of outroam a Braum a lot of time. And especially if the support, if Foxhound, like we saw, is able to kind of get those plays around the map, that's pretty good for him. So that is something that I'm scared of with when you lock in Braum at this point in the game. But Jinx, that's also a really strong champ. And when you have the peel from the Mumu Braum, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, very aggressive. I'm curious if this. Assume this has to be top Gwen. I don't think there are many players out there outside of, let's say, Cherry from Warden that runs that Gwen jungle. So this has to be top. So you're really showing your top early here, and this is a champ that hasn't been banned the whole series.
I will slightly disagree. I think that Gwen is a champion that can kind of eat up an Amumu, especially. I think it could be top. I think you can still treat it as a flex, especially if you are on red side here. When you're playing with the Misfortune, playing with the Nautilus, you want to have some threat onto that tank option. And if you're Bardo, I think you are that person who has... You're the Amumu player. You have the options into Amumu, but you know what is an option? They're saying that Malphite, it didn't win the game, but it was still really strong, as it is the response followed up by Trundle from the side of CEP Purple.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see the Malphite ban come down here. I guess, yeah, if you're not going to throw Jarvan bans, they must be also agreeing that that is going to be the jungle Gwen.
I think that is an option. I don't know if I've seen the side of Dragon play it. It could, or I mean, Bardo play it. Sorry, I get these players confused. As Jax is going to be taken off the table. They're not giving it back to Pizza here. So they are saying, hey, this is potentially a champion that can go in the jungle. We just want to keep that flex alive. I'm expecting it to be a mid lane pick here from the side of Wolven. I think he has a pretty sizable champion pool. Just from looking at it, I would expect it to be something like the... You know, I was going to wait on it. It's Galio. That's kind of insane. I mean, I guess it works with the Gwen, but if you play any AD... Like, okay, my go-to pick, I don't know if they play it, Corki does really good with this draft. 2 ADs into that comp is pretty nice. You have some mobility to avoid the Misfortune. You can absolutely bully a Galio in lane super hard. It's going to kind of depend on what Bubble is wanting to play here, as it ends up being Lissandra, which is... That's a lot of CC, and I'm thinking Merc Treads gets a ton of value if you are the side of Chrono, but if it's comfort for you, it's comfort.
Yeah, Lissandra does bring some nice point and click along with the rest of the shenanigans that Lissandras can pull off, entering a team fight, locking everyone down. Since Contingent is now the one that wants to death ball up, stack as 5, and just drop a whole lot of AoE damage, Misfortune getting Lissandra ult ends a lot of stuff. You're going to want to be on top of the Gwen to Lissandra ult her anyways. And we see the Gator picked up, who also wants to be in that 5v5 death ball.
Yeah, there is the 5v5 death ball, but I'm looking at the situation. You know who enjoys a death ball is the enemy team. Misfortune, she's still going to have bullet time. There's a Braum, sure, but if the Braum does not get a perfect shield, she shreds through this team. You look at Gwen, if she gets all of her needles off, she is healing, she is eviscerating, and Urgot, that is one of Pizza Pasta Mafia's favorite champions. And I know that I think Bwipo plays this into Renekton a good amount of the time. It's a specialty, and I think it does pretty good when you're wanting to engage in this death ball here.
Yep, we do finally see it. It's been banned the whole time, so Pizza gets his main comfort after having a. Sorry, the teams are trolling a chat saying that this was going to be Urgot support and not top. It is not. That will be going in the hands of Pizza as his main comfort. It is an interesting matchup. I have seen the pro side of it to make it more fun. I more like the Braum into MF for stopping the bullet time. I'm a little more concerned for ChronoBreak on this one because of that CC. It is point and click coming out of Lissandra. One of those two are not moving. Either the MF doesn't get to play in a team fight or the Gwen doesn't get to play in a team fight. Does the other have enough in the tank to carry it before Jinx gets a reset?
I mean, we'll have to see. I think that is only a question that the game itself will answer, Soul. As I think we are waiting for them to lock it in. We do know that the Urgot is unfortunately not going into that support tab. It is going top, as it is one of Pizza Pasta's. His magnum opus, as they like to say. But we'll have to see. I think, honestly, I'm kind of leaning. I think this is the most even draft I've seen so far tonight. I think it's a lot on the Jinx to do damage from the side of Contingent Esports Purple. I do think we're underestimating how much value Gwen does in these these basically like brawling comps. Renekton does good into her, sure, but I don't know. I think right now I'm actually favoring ChronoBreak's draft.
I actually like the split decision. I can see both teams on this one. If I had to be on a side, I personally want to be on the Contingent side on this one. I like their death ball a little bit better than ChronoBreak's.
Fair. I mean, we'll have to see who ends up being correct with this decision as we're waiting on them to lock it in. We're going to take a quick break, wait on that spectator delay to catch up for us, and we'll be back as soon as game starts.
Call me by name, I will wait. Tell me your secrets, be my friend.
We've made it here to Game 3 of this pretty exciting series, to be honest, between Contingent Esports Purple and TD ChronoBreak. Not Blake, that's not a word. As we're now sitting at this, what I would say is probably the most even draft we've seen thus far. It is going to be exciting. The Gwen Jungle, you don't see it every day. The Urgot, a specialty of pasta. So I'm excited. Anything we're seeing summoner spell wise or keystones that are just really like, what's going on there?
Yeah, just taking a looking around. It is first strike MF, so we do expect that lethality to come out. Not the not double combat down bot lane here for ChronoBreak. It is the Ignite Exhaust coming out for Neon and Fox here for Contingent. So I'm expecting to see some early fireworks. They want to fight early down here.
I think it's interesting. I'm more surprised to see Exhaust on the Nautilus than I am Ignite on the Braum, if that makes sense. Because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I think realistically the Nautilus and the Misfortune are the one who have the prio, but they're saying I'm going to hook the wall as he does land the root onto Neon. He's trying to get a good amount of damage in return. It ends up being a decent trade there from the side of TD. But Fox, he's trying to get some return damage off, so not all for naught.
Yeah, Neon stepping up like halfway to that bush for some reason without his support there. So that's curious. Very aggressive. We'll call it aggressive.
Very aggressive. I will say something I've found very interesting is every single game the junglers have been pathing away from each other, right? It is the Gwen who's going to be pathing down. I think that's interesting. And the Amumu's going to be pathing up. He's trying to affect this lane. He's trying to put Pasta in a bit of a bad spot. And right now, I actually think looking at the way these lanes have been playing out, it's more likely that Amumu's going to see some success. Just with the fact that the wave bounced, Renekton is getting a nice deep ward to potentially spot out where the Gwen is. And with that ward, they know, hey, Gwen's on the way down bot lane. We got to be a little cautious.
Yeah, great roam by Urameshi. I wish I could get top laners to do that for me as well. Level 2, go ward red while not falling behind the lane. Great job. Where do you find these top lanes?
Yeah, I mean, that was just the benefit of getting that early shove into the Urgot. I'm kind of surprised because you usually see Urgot as a pretty strong level 1 champion. I think you might have potentially gone a little bit too long. As we see Pasta is going to get that ward, doing a good job. I think Renekton's got to hold on to it. So looks like Pasta is going to be safe here unless Amumu goes on the craziest journey of his life. But nothing here, as we're kind of just seeing it's probably going to be a little bit of farming as there's some action, but I don't doubt anything crazy is going to happen this early.
Yeah, I don't either. I expect Scuttles to be split. Gwen may look for a gank here, but not really terrible to get out of a Gwen gank unless there's some good setup.
Yeah,
I think after 6.
A lot of the threat you're talking about, yeah, it kind of needs to be 6 for Gwen to get some value here. She does get that early, or that deep ward into Amumu, but looking at Amumu here, Galio is a little bit out of position here, but Urgot is... Why did I say Urgot? Galio doing a great flash there. Gwen was hanging out if the fight went a little bit frisky, but ends up being a flash traded, so it stinks, but hey, it's not your death, so not too bad.
Yeah, I will say this is basically the 3rd game in a row. Bubbles has controlled this lane, I would say. I don't think Woven's been able to come out on top.
Yeah, as we see the repeat gank from Dragon here, he's able to land the Q, followed up by the stun and the root from the Lissandra. The Aftershock is making it tough, but he's going to fall, and the first blood goes over to Dragon, and the purples are on the board.
Yeah, I think maybe slight misclick there. Dashed back into Amumu. Looked like he dashed backwards rather than go away to the tower.
The issue with Galio E is every time you have a charge up. So regardless of, like, if you're trying to run away, if someone is standing directly on you, they are going to tank it so that you can't get the distance. So with Amumu just being directly stacked on him, he realistically had no way to E to safety. So good on them from the side of the Amumu to make it so that he couldn't get away. But also, you got to be careful, man. You got to think, hey, a jungler... Those junglers are insane people. He might repeat gank me, and that's just exactly what Dragon did there.
Yeah, great call out. I always like to see junglers kind of like you get that early flash, please come back and gank it. I don't see that nearly often enough. You spend so much time, you burn the flash, and then you don't visit the lane until flash is back up.
I mean, it was a good response. Gwen is getting a little bit of value here. She is taking what seems to be most of the top side camps from the Amumu. I think it was actually only wolves. So she is up about a camp's worth, which is nice to see. So she will be hitting 6 a little bit earlier, but now we see that they are going in here. That's a Lissandra, but the taunt, it wasn't timed enough to make it so she couldn't actually take her E. I think if you hold on to it a little bit longer, you can potentially keep her stuck. But speaking of stuck, the bandage toss is going to be landing onto Gwen. She does have the immunity, but remember, it's actually going to be a 3v2 as Braum is here first. Dragon doing a lot of damage, but Lissandra is the one who's able to pick up the kill. The stun's going to land. Great roam here from Fox. We've seen it consistently. We see that Bubble picks up a 2-peat, and the feats of warfare are going the way of purple.
Yeah, great job by Dragon. Landed a stun on Gwen. You know, Bubble has prio, able to get there first. And Fox, there again, early roam up top. And I do like this adaptation. ChronoBreak immediately scrap the play, go for Dragon, and don't contest these grubs like we've seen in the past couple games.
Yeah, I mean, contesting grubs would be a death sentence here for them, as I am kind of surprised that they didn't go for Dragon instantly on the play, as we do see that Bardo is choosing to farm the up. Just they're saying, hey, I need farm to get into this game. Dragon takes me too long. I need to just be cycling my camps. Because Gwen, if she gets to late game, she is a threat. She is a beast, and she gets a lot of value here. I will say Lysandra definitely slows her down. You have 2 point-and-click CCs that you have to be worrying about, so that's tough. But your Conqueror, your Ghost, your Needlin, it's still scary if you are purple, but I think Dragon was the play. I mean, it's still like early Hex Tech. It's not bad to have. And I don't know. I think just not trading objectives there might not be the right call.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to end up just handing Dragon over for free, uncontested, as Bardo's in his top side here. And they're about to learn that with that ward again.
Yeah, Urameshi. Yep. Urameshi doing a great job of finding these deep wards, buying enough time. He says, I don't really want to lane against the Urgot, but I'm going to at least get some value out of it. I will say he has down a little bit of experience here. I don't know it, but oh, cutting over bot. The stun does land. I thought there was going to be a little bit more, but it looked like we caught the end of that string there. As he only is cut to half, but he's a Nautilus, so he's a pretty tanky guy. But still, I will say I'm hoping that these roams aren't going to be affecting how much experience he's getting. We've seen last time where you were trading consistently on the level advantage from Pasta. I'm wondering if he's going to try to implement that as well, especially with the Gwen coming up here. If he dings 8, that could be danger, but they're seeing the Dragon is taken here. As this is their opportunity to make a play happen. If you're Urameshi, you got to think something fishy's happening.
Yeah, I don't know if Bardo was on a ward there. I didn't see a ward. But I think that was the time to get into that gank on Urameshi to try and make them pay for the Dragon. I mean, you're going to get this top side as a consolation prize? Is that enough?
I mean, they're doing a good job of finding angles. I would think with how much we're seeing the Squin counter jungle, I would want to be seeing a bigger CS lead, right? It's technically only about 5, which is not great. Amumu is spotted here. I guess maybe not. As we see, the bandage toss is going to land. Hoodie is stuck in a bad spot. The ultimate's going to come out. Neon lands it, forcing the flash out from Bamboo as well. The play goes the way, once again, of the Dragon. And Amumu, he's been sitting pretty, and he's been getting a ton done on the map.
Yeah, Hoodie smartly saves both summoners. You're completely dead there. Don't even give it up. But this will nullify some of the Gwen counter jungle that's going on, as Amumu is going to be able to parallel jungle now.
Parallel jungling indeed. I mean, Gwen is sitting. She's gained about 15 farms, so she's up about a level. I mean, that ends up evening out a little bit as the late game goes, but she's not finding a lot of plays. She has the blasting wand, sure, but like if you're not doing enough with that gold, if you're not consistently just trying to farm, the game's on a time bomb, right? Because you're sitting here and you're like, hey, I'd love to keep this game going. League of Legends is going to have some shenanigans that happen, right? Stuff's not going to go your way. If things are perfect, you can farm up and you'll win this game. But we've seen fights have not gone the way, and the other side of the map is bleeding because they don't have a jungler who's being active right now.
Yeah, looking at the gold, even with all that counter jungling, Amumu's up 200 gold on the squad.
Oh.
So it's not even working.
Yeah, I mean, she still is keeping consistent. I would say if you're playing a jungler like a Jarvan, maybe like a Vi, and you're getting stuff like you're trying to make ganks happen and they don't work out, you're down way more gold. So Gwen is still keeping up relatively, as we're seeing a little bit of interactions here as Amumu is now trying to get some countering. But look at top. We see that Fox, he's basically gone from one side of the map to the other as he lands the stun onto Pizza. The flash forward from Neon, I think it's going to be tough as it forces out Pizza's flash. So not bad, as it does look like now with that pressure, they're going to try to go down and they're going to get grubs for themselves. This has been just objective dominance from the side of Purple.
Yeah, this is what we saw game 1 out of Contingent Purple here with this heavy objective focus. That bot lane already
the hook does land. The bullet time to follow. The exhaust is keeping her stuck. That basically was a full... Oh! No, the triumph to make it so they don't fall. I think Nautilus was tanking the tower for a little bit too long. Even with the bullet time fully unloaded into the Renekton, it's tough. And look at the flash. We know that Urgot does not have flash. He's just running around to buy time. Mr. Krabs, you're going to be in a bit of a bad spot. The Q's going to land. You don't even need to curse the sad mummy. The Urgot falls. The Jinx gets her reset. She's feeling nice, sitting at 2-0-0.
And this goes about as bad as it could for ChronoBreak here. You lose the 2v1 dive under, and you landed all of the CC you needed to. Meshi actually gets a kill, and then you lose your top laner as well.
I mean, the top lane, just with that swing alone, we see Renekton is almost up 1,000 gold on his own. Looking at this gold lead, it's basically 3k, which is really, really massive at this point in the game. It's not uncomebackable. Obviously, we talk about how good Gwen can be later. She is even gold with this Amumu, so that is something that she can look to do. Honestly, props to Bardo. He is finding every single camp he can here. He is going consistently into the Amumu's jungle. He is getting what he can, knowing that he can test his limits a little bit because they're using a lot of their threats in these fights. And look at Fox here. He doesn't spot out Gwen yet, but we see the hook is going to land, but you don't have a ton of your damage to follow it up as a TP is coming out from Lissandra. Bubble is going to be here. They're going to look on this Nautilus as the E is going to come. The Jinx R does not land, but it might be nothing here as Bardo is making it so that their support is able to get out scot-free.
But I think this play ends up costing them Dragon Prio. I mean, your Nautilus is low, Hoodie's backing. Dragon's up in 20?
Yeah, it's tough. If Bardo stays on the map, it's not the worst. He does already have his Nashers, so he could continue to look to fight, because realistically, the gold lead first items are basically that spike, right? They are both on that spot, but we'll have to see as Bardo is kind of in a bit of a bad spot. He does get tagged by the Braum, but the hook is making it so it's not as easy for him. As we've seen that Wolven, once again, is the one who's sitting on this side lane. They're wanting to keep Pizza Pasta in this fight. I think it's honestly the play this time, right? Galio is just sitting at 0-2. He's not doing the best right now, but we talked about Prio. It actually still is in the hands of ChronoBreak here, but right now Urgot is kind of sitting in the wing, but the ult is going to land. The Curse of the Sad Mummy followed up by the bullet time. It ends up not actually being good. The ultimate from Braum is going to land. It finds the angle, forcing the flash out and the Yomus. But the bandage, basically max range. They're going to turn onto Pizza. He goes in with the E. He's trying to get some damage off, but he's exhausted. And right now, I think they are exhausting their options here. He's trying to do the damage. Jinx is reset. Amumu, the bandages just keep on landing, man. It's crazy. But he's trying to do enough. But this play, once again, I keep saying it, it's purple, purple, purple.
Yeah, Hoodie, great bullet time. It's 3-man, but you're so far behind, you don't have any damage yet to actually finish that with how tanky Amumu and Lissandra are with the Renekton. And the Braum, sorry, not the Renekton, to get any kills there. And that Gwen's just instantly CC dead, didn't get to move from the spot, and the fight just ends. It's 9-0.
I'm going to be honest. I think the saving grace of that fight is you actually have Galio there. You need a Galio to potentially stop the Amumu a little bit, because Nautilus can slow him down, but like if you're using a Nautilus to disengage, it's not feeling as good. You want to just give your Misfortune as much room as possible. Hoodie Man had a great ulti that fight. It was not it was not the worst. Like Hoodie Man was still getting some damage done. It's just you just see the situation. Pizza wasn't able to get enough damage off. Bardo got popped, and like, it's just not going the way, right? Amumu, if he's untouched, he's gonna find these engages. One of those bandages is eventually gonna land, and it's followed up by one of the best ultis in the game.
Yeah, if Gwen had gotten really any damage off that fight, I think Hoodie's man ult cleans up a lot.
I mean, for sure. As we're still like looking at it, it's tough right now. The gold lead is just sitting right shy of 5k. As it is kind of just been, the objectives have gone the way. The feats of strength are in the side of purple. It is just that tower that is... Actually, no, bot lane tower fell. I think it was a clean sweep on those feats, which is nice of them. Looking at the objectives that are spawning next, Herald is next on the agenda. We do see that most members are hovering around the top side of the map. I think they're wanting to contest this, which... For purple, I'm saying yes, yes, yes. If I'm ChronoBreak, I'm saying no, no, no. I think you got to be just farming. You need the Gwen at this point to just commit to the bit that is farm as much as you can. She is sitting, she's the highest farm on her team, which is nice to have, but I mean, you got to have a little bit of defensive, a little bit more in the tank, because if you're still getting bursted by the Amumu, it doesn't matter if you have the gold. You're going to die, and you're not going to get to use any of that gold yourself.
Yeah, I think ChronoBreak needs to really just relax right now. Don't force anything. This is a pretty rough advantage. You need to farm up. You got to get Bardo to that item spike. Really needs that second item, and you need MF second item before you look to fight this.
As we're looking at it now, the Misfortune, I will say, lethality items are a little bit cheaper. She's getting a little bit extra gold from that first strike, so she is down 600, but compared to the rest of her team, that's not too
Doing
bad.
pretty good.
So that's pretty good compared to the rest of her team. So lethality items do come online a little bit faster than the crit items, so that could be an angle for them to look at it. But hey, if the game keeps on going, lethality items, they don't scale as well as crit items, so you got to see as they're going to be ulting Braum, trying to buy enough space. The Gwen ulti is popped. They're making their play now as the flash engage comes out. The bullet time, the Braum, never mind this champion, does counter Misfortune. But we see some damage. They're trying to get some damage. The reset is going to make it so Hoodie cannot get that kill off. We got to be careful. That minion is actually holding down the fort, making it so that Dragon cannot queue back in. But the play, it goes the way of purple.
Yeah, great flash there out of Helium to stop that Jinx ult and not having that hit Bardo that would have actually taken Bardo out. I agree with what Continue's doing here. Step on the gas as much as possible. Like, you want to be fighting every chance you can right now. You don't lose these fights. At all.
Even at all is that's exactly how I'd put it. Like, you can kind of get away with murder, right? We saw Misfortune. She almost, I mean, actually no, that was actually a good ulti there from Fox to make it so that Misfortune did not get her full combo there. It's tough, right? If Misfortune is ahead, she can kind of get away with just throwing her Qs. She can get away with strutting around, getting the slow off, but you kind of have to use your ulti as soon as you get the opportunity. But Braum is saying, no, we're not going to do that. He's going to throw up. He's going to save his shield for the Misfortune because Lux, I mean, not Lux, that's a game one question. Gwen is not strong. Who's going to take anything other than the Braum shield other than that bullet time? It's nobody else. It is saved for the Misfortune, and it's just so hard to play for your Hoodie.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult. His ult placements, though, have been perfect if the Braum shield wasn't there on that. Again, that's a 3-man ultimate that he's landing. But there's not a whole lot of support there yet.
Not a whole lot of support, as we do see the TP is coming out from Pizza. It does get spotted, though, so they are backing away. I think they're trying to make a play happen. I'm surprised he did not actually take the Blast Cone, as we do see the TPs coming out from Renekton. They're wanting to fight, and they're wanting to fight now. The ultimate does land. It's a 3-man, but the bullet time is doing a lot of damage. It's not able to hit a ton, and look at the damage from the Lissandra there. It's crazy. Pizza goes for a hero play, but the exhaust and the rest of his team is going to make it so that they cannot get it done. We see the flash come out. The Galio almost got popped, so it was scary. Could have been scarier. Once again, it's 13-0 Soul, and the Dragon's going over. It's not Cloud. Hey, it's not Cloud Drake, so it's not exactly 3 clouds in a row, but hey, Soul, what is it once again? It's all purple. It's all purple.
This is a little rough to watch. Like, we literally just talked about it. If you are ChronoBreak, you do not want to fight. You're definitely not forcing a fight. They force the fight, and it goes terrible. You are very wallet gapped at this point. Like, it is a struggle bus. You need to farm. You need items. You just now, after that disaster, got your second item on your MF, who's doing the best of your team, and Gwen is still, we're 20 minutes in, not having her second item.
I mean, and even that farm lead that we thought was going to be a lot stronger, it's not as big. She's going through her camps now, sure, but like, she's just getting slowed down by the Lissandra. Look at that Lissandra. She's 603. A lot of that damage was from the Lissandra in that fight. She went in, she popped the ulti, she popped the W. The champs are exploding, right? Like, you just see the situation. Amumu, once again, we talk about, he gets that passive magic resist for his team. He's like a walking abyssal mask. He is that guy. So it's tough. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, hey, we talked about how aggressive you can be without a care in the world. You now have the Otacon, where you now have these GAs to do whatever you want. And I think you honestly, with Jinx resets, I mean, you don't have Baron, sure, but like you could blow
you
this
force
game
it.
wide open.
Yeah, they
As
take the inhib here, 100%.
Or they're gonna try to. They don't have the wave. Hoodie Man using that ultimate to do some damage. It was blocked by Braum, but hey, that's doing damage to the wave as well. They're waiting on the next one. Pizza's trying to make some plays happen on his own bot side. He does get a tower for himself, so it's not completely for nothing, but I think right now, look at Dragon. He's on the hunt. He knows that there's going to be an angle here. The taunt is landing, but hey, remember, there's no misfortune ult. They don't care about that tower. Gwen is taking a lot of damage. She's getting those down. Jinx gets a kill. Jinx gets another. It's going to be a triple over her way. Never mind, I'm just kidding. Renekton stole it, that dirty little reptile. But Jinx is reset. By the way, this could be an angle to end. The Urgot has not reset. Urgot is finally resetting. This game is over. This game has ended. By the way, it is 22 minutes. It is a bit of a stinker. And Hoodie forced the flash. The Nexus is all that's left. It is popped. Contingent Purple with a almost perfect game. The tower did fall, but 16-0 makes it a bit of a nice one and a great way for Contingent Purple to end this one off.
Yeah, very strong way and statement to the sister team there of Harmony, saying, hey, you're next, as they have that matchup coming up there near the end. And they remain undefeated. And just this game was perfectly executed. Really, really happy to see that out of Purple.
It was, yes, once again, it was really, really well executed. I would say Dragon played phenomenally this game. He found all of the angles for success that he needed, and it just felt like every time he was making a play, it went the way that they needed, right? We just look at the rest of it. Helium, like Hoodie and Helium, they had that botch dive. That was an angle to get back into it. Urameshi, actually, another person I should have shouted out more is Urameshi getting that early vision set up just to get an idea of where the Gwen is. Hey, we don't care if you're going to keep farming up. Look at how much damage the Gwen did. The Gwen did the least damage in the game. It was close with the Nautilus, but that was the least damage in the game. She was not able to do anything in that fight. It's tough. Like, you want to get to that late game, but they said, hey, we're going to be slamming on the gas. We're going to be setting up. We're going to be punishing you. We have the Amumu Lissandra. We have the Braum. And, I mean, I said it before game. It kind of was a lot of the draft, right? You picked Nautilus into Braum. That's a no-go. You can't do that. Braum got so much more value in that game than he should have. It was so clean all around from Contingent.
Yeah, I mean, and all I can think about right now is if you're Tuna. For those who know, Tuna's the coach of Contingent Purple. You are so happy with how they just pulled this off after that rough game 2, kind of a slaughter, to come back with a flawless game, perfect execution, every objective. Like it's almost hard to pick an MVP that isn't Tuna. Like, the draft was so good. The team was ready for everything in this matchup.
Hey, regardless, that third game might not have been as back and forth as we were maybe wanting it to be, but still, it was a 3-game series, so shout out for 2TD ChronoBreak for taking it this far. Hoodie Man still doing the most damage at the end of the day, right? He was holding down the fort like he could. He had one death there. The rest of the team was kind of not doing as good, but still, there is a bright spot here. I think that ChronoBreak, they should take this. They're obviously going to be sad that this game didn't go their way. It didn't go their way by a lot, but you still have the rest of the season. You got another week, and then it's playoff time. You have the time to bounce back. Keep your head held high. And I mean, you got to be ready for next week.
Yeah, Hoodie, phenomenal. All 3 games, really like the shining member that stood out there for ChronoBreak. He was excellent on the Twitch, the MF. Like, it looked really good from Hoodie. They definitely have some picks there. Like, Bardo seems like a 50-50 at this point now that I've seen him twice. We kind of ChronoBreak seems to like live or die by the grace of Bardo. Like, either Bardo's having a good game and his team can explode, or Bardo's not a factor and the team falls.
I mean, but once again, Soul, I appreciate you joining me for the color cast tonight. This is my first time casting Arbiter, and it was a treat. You know, it had its highs, it had its lows for sure, but it was a great time. I mean, I think we'll probably, if I cast, I'm sure I'll be seeing these teams once again. I'm excited to see how the rest of this league ends up playing out. But join us next, I guess tomorrow, for Sentinel. I forget what that matchup is actually going to be, but I always know it's a banger. I've casted them a good amount of times. I know a bunch of the coaches for those players in Sentinel, so I'm excited to watch it. But Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this production here at the LXC. If you haven't joined the Discord already, make sure to pop in there, say hi. We always appreciate new members, and we hope to see you guys on the next streams.